And welcome back to another great night here on Clarity After Dark. I am your host, Scarlet Anonymous. My co-host, Red Gypsy, is right here with me. Say hello, Red.
I'm here.
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical issue and difficulty getting on the air, so we're here now.
We are.
Sorry, Red.
What?
I didn't get to take a break, so I went to go grab some, a chicken wing. Actually.
Alright.
It's actually really tasty. Just wanted to let you know that. And so let's fill everybody in with our week and the new year and all that good fun stuff. What'd you do for New Year's, Red?
Nothing.
What you mean nothing?
Nothing. I slept, gee.
Well, I mean, you slept.
Yeah, that's nothing, man. I just slept. I was like dead ass in bed by like 9.
There's nothing wrong with that either, though. You know, New Year's doesn't have the same energy that it once had. Is the way I should put it. Right? Like, I just don't... It's not like when we were kids. You know, when we were kids, you could, go around and have things going, and, there was parties everywhere, and it was good stuff. And then that just kind of disappeared. So I find that interesting. It's not like the same days of when we used to have like Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve and all that stuff. It's a very different situation. Back then, people, spent more time to get ready and did all that kind of fun stuff. But now we don't see that as much. That's just something that I personally have noticed. I don't know if everybody else has noticed it, but it's definitely something I've noticed. But, like when our grandparents were around, it was a big deal to get ready for New Year's and, get your ball gowns together and, have a big deal. Now, like Red, you're lucky if, 9 o'clock in bed is like the most action you see all night. I mean, your pillow saw a lot of action. It did. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting too, though. I mean, Just saying. So, I don't know. I find it interesting. No. Maybe I can mess with some volumes on the mixer. Is that better? Because I just turned it up. Well, Melissa's giving me, like, things in my ear. She says it's a lot lower than it was. But we got quieter. So I don't know what that means. Technical difficulties have been the name of the game this week. I'll tell you what. That's been the most obnoxious thing. Is not having the technology work the way we need it to. That's the truth. I can't tell you how many times this week we've had technology issues and problems.
Right.
So, with that being said, I don't think she waits for you to talk, and she's got to realize we're 30 seconds behind. Right? Because the tech issues have been like Melissa's crux. It's been both of the bane of our existence, I promise you. It's difficult. It's ridiculous. It's out of control.
Right.
Okay, she says she can hear you now. Yeah, this whole tech thing has been an issue, and this mixer probably will be going back, because this ain't the one. This ain't the one, sis. This ain't the one. Because I shouldn't have to pipe you out on the speakers of my computer to get you with the sound. I should just be able to use the BB cable and get your sound over here.
Right.
So it's just frustrating. But you know what? It's a new year, and I promise. You know what? By my birthday, I'm going to have this totally down. I promise. We're going to have no technical issues. Even Red's going to come up in the tech world. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Why?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm going to go to the chat, see if anybody's in the chat. Hello, chat. We have a new chat that is powered by Caster, which is our way that, if we were doing video, that's how we broadcast our video out. And we plan to do video soon.
I don't know if I'm doing it.
Well, you can still come on. I mean, that doesn't stop you. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, guess what? I have a surprise for you, Red. Are you ready?
Okay.
Be excited. I'd command it. Okay, that was a little more exciting. I'll take that. So, you know how you've been thinking about, getting a new computer?
Oh, right.
Right. So, our lovely webmaster has said that she actually has a computer that she has all set up for you, all cleaned up for you, that you can get in your price range.
Oh.
Yes. And it'll be all set up to stream. It'll all be set up with the show stuff. It'll be all set up with everything you need.
That would be awesome.
Yes. And it'll be a little less than what your budget idea was.
Sweet.
Yes. So, that is happening in your world. So you are leveling up in the tech world.
Except I have no money for 3 weeks.
It still doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It'll still be there. It's not like a sale at the store that goes away.
And then I have to get all this other crap.
Why do you have to get all this other crap?
Like the microphone and all that crap.
Nope. This one has an internal mic and everything.
I know, but the internal mics, I gotta get something that cuts out my background noise.
Yeah, they got cheap $20 ones, though, that plug into the little audio jack. They have them even cheaper than that. So, that's the only thing you'd need. And honestly, you'd be surprised what these mics can cut out for background noise. Because you got to remember, I'm just pulling you over the sound. So, you got to remember that. It's not going to be all bad. It's still going to be under your budget. So, you'll be able to get it. It'll be great. And I just got contacted by somebody who might have some extra mics and stuff. So, that should be good. Oh, and I have my old lapel mic. That's like a condenser lavalier mic. That would work.
I still super feel bad about getting a computer when I need to be getting this ultrasound machine for my freaking animals.
Okay. I mean, you always said you weren't going to get an ultrasound machine in years past.
No, I said I was getting one.
Right. I get that. But it's a small investment for your show to make it better.
No, but I have like 14 does here that I gotta find out how many babies are coming.
Okay, well, tax time's coming soon too. Tax time's coming soon too. So.
I don't do taxes, G.
Why wouldn't you do taxes?
Because they all get taken away, remember?
Not from your Sonic job. You can go file that.
Nope. They'll take it immediately.
What?
Because his debt is my debt now.
Oh, that's good. You can file married but separate, and they can't take it then.
I've done that, and they still take them.
What?
Yep.
What is this? What is this?
And we even had him down to below even where they're supposed to be allowed to tap it, and they still do it.
Wow. What the hell? Why do they feel like they can do that?
Dude, the whole thing's illegal, you know that.
I do know that, but I mean, honestly, like, what's the deal? That just doesn't... When you're filing separate, it should be separate, and that should be the end of that.
I know, but because our last names are the same, and we're married, and we still file under the same address. Take mine, too. Whoa, what's going on? What?
Sorry. Had to fix. It gets quiet, but I had to fix stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Probably gets quieter than normal.
I told you, but I don't think people, well, I don't dwell on it.
Right.
And so I don't think people realize how bad that actually really has really hurt our family, like, drastic.
Well, oh yeah. You're missing out on a lot of income that could be put back into your home, so I get it.
Yeah. And not just that, but you don't even get to see her. That's really what's wrong with it. That's really what's wrong. He pays, and then he's not allowed to see her. Not allowed to see her. Not because a judge says so. Not because there's a court order. But because somebody just runs wherever the hell they want with a child, doing whatever they want, going, catch me if you can.
Right. That needs to be stopped. Because for those who are paying... Those for who are paying, people like her need to be put in contempt. Because for people like her, when it's people actually paying, actually wanting to be involved, actually wanting to do something, they need to be put in contempt of court and jailed so that they stop running.
We can't put her in contempt because there's no order. there's no custody order, period, because she doesn't stay somewhere long enough for a state to have jurisdiction enough to get her in a courtroom.
Right. And that's the loophole that shouldn't exist. You know, not that we need to... I don't know how you can make someone stay in one place, but there's got to be a better way. You know what I'm saying? Like...
Well, here's the thing. They can make them stay if there was a court order. Like, if there was a court order for custody, you would, if he wanted to move or she wanted to move, they would have to prove that they had a better place and what they were doing and exactly how, and then that they had a job and blah, 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 and how it would benefit the child to remove them from the parent. That shit should be done, period. It shouldn't matter if there's a custody order or not. You shouldn't just be able to up and freaking move around and go wherever the hell you want. And again, like, support is for the child, not for you to just go traipsing around the United States and all of the country. And I do mean all of the country, because she's taking this child out of country without parental consent all the time.
Yeah, which I'm wondering how, you know, in some of these countries where, you know, they want, like, especially even just Mexico, they usually want, like, permission from both parents.
Now, at one time, she asked her for permission. She has to go write a paper and have it notarized, and he told her no. And I would not put it past this person, particularly, to have gotten someone else to pretend to be him, because she's done it before.
Right, and how hard it would be if you just went to, like, a local notary to get it done.
Yep, somebody she knows that has a notary.
Yep, that's all you need.
Because it ain't that hard. I'm not trying to be that, but it's not that hard to get a notary, G.
No, it's not. You can find and now, too, you can find them just about anywhere. Most states, it's only like $100 to become one.
No, I mean, like, for like yourself to even become a notary, it's not hard.
No, it's not. It's actually pretty cheap, and then...
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't put it past her to have one of her friends just go, like, for her to have paid for one of her friends to become a notary just to lie about it.
Right.
Because she is that deceptive.
Right. I could see it. You know, and it's unfortunate because, you know, you're not the only family in the country that's going through this, but it makes you feel so isolated and alone.
Another thing that I would like to say is absolutely not fair is the fact that, you know, in dealing with the court system and support, which I can say because we don't do with my children.
No. You should, but you don't. It's more trouble than what it's worth going through the court, honestly. Adults should be able to come to agreements on their own terms. You know what I mean? And not use the court as a crutch. For some people, it's great. Yeah. If you can't get along or whatever, great.
And here's the thing. I offered all that to her.
Yeah.
It was offered. We tried. I tried. She will say that we are incapable, which is bullshit because we did that with Chris for 10 years.
Right.
You know, and I still do it. With the Bell. Like, I still do that. There's still no custody order. I mean, we have grown apart. We don't necessarily talk and whatever, but, you know, we still don't have court systems involved. Like, we're still able to do it. And, you know, for her to be like, oh, it's impossible to do it that way. You can't tell me it's impossible. I do it.
So many other people do it too. It's not impossible. It's just about being able to be an adult and come to the table when necessary and not run.
Well, that's the problem, because one of us in all of this equation has not been an adult since it started.
That's exactly. You have to be an adult to deal with children. Honestly, you do.
I'm not pulling names and I'm not saying anything, but you know, it's just, I get angry and I get upset because, you know, the court system is supposed to help, and yet here is a parent who wants to be a parent, wants to have a relationship, wants to do these things, is prevented by it, by parental alienation, because I'm going to call it like it is. It's parental alienation.
Oh, it's beyond that.
which is a form of child abuse. They are proving it. It is becoming more and more popular within the system.
In the state of Minnesota, it's actually a crime. You can be charged in family court. Yeah, you can be charged in family court for that.
Yes, and that is becoming more and more popular.
As it should, though.
The problem again with, because here in Colorado, parental alienation has now been recognized as a child abuse. And we thought that was going to give us a leg to stand on. And guess what they told us? No jurisdiction.
No jurisdiction.
No jurisdiction, Chief.
Wow.
So you still fall under jurisdiction, right?
But shouldn't the child have to follow in some rights? You know what I mean? Why is it the only one?
What do you mean?
For instance, with the running and the court systems, I don't know why they're where's the protection for the child? Why are some of the rights entrained for the adult, but not thinking about the child?
Because she moved to a state that implements, how did they say it? An unwedded couple that gives birth to a child, the mother is assumed to have all rights and physical custody, and the father is without any. And that's where she did her support order and then moved immediately and hasn't lived in the state that she draws support on since the support order took place, which is supposedly a federal crime.
Right.
But when it's pointed out to the local office, all they want to say is, so sad, too bad. Don't know what to tell you, other than if you don't pay, you're going to go to jail.
Right.
So then they said, don't pay and make it get switched over to Colorado. We did that. They switched it to Colorado. Colorado still is like, we have no jurisdiction. We can't do shit. The child doesn't reside in the state. But she does reside in the state. She goes to school here. Yeah, but it says that she hasn't been here. She's not here longer than 6 months at a time, which does not give them jurisdiction.
Right. And see, and that needs to be changed. You know, kids.
And the child is now that we know of been taken to England, Ireland, Hawaii, and somewhere like Egypt or somewhere like that.
Right.
Without consent from the other parent, without even notification to the other parent. They live less than 4 hours from us, and yet we can't even contact them. We have no way to. She has us blocked on everything.
See, and that shouldn't be. How can a parent just erase a child's life from existence? You know, when you really think about that, she's done a good job about it.
Oh, yeah, she's completely erased him from her life. Completely. And now the child's 12 years old, so what do you do?
And basically, like I say, erase the child off the face of the earth. I mean, at one point you knew what school she was going to and all that and this and that. And then the girl just, like, as soon as you could catch her and maybe even try to make plans, nope, they're gone again.
Yep. She immediately took her to California, which we found out recently, and now they're back again. But
still. You know, kids shouldn't be able to be used as pawns.
All we accomplished was getting the support order changed to Colorado, and now they know where he is, so they can freaking arrest him easier.
Right.
That's all we accomplished.
Which, she should be arrested for not letting him see her. In most other states, they act as a open support order is also rights to be seen, and you can go and get your rights to be seen because you're paying. And it's really sad that many states have failed, and that's because we have corrupt CPS and justice systems.
Well, what they tell you now is that child support and custody are two very separate issues, and one does not do the other, and the other does not do the other one. And just because you pay support doesn't mean that you get to see the child. Just
see, that's crap.
See the child doesn't mean you pay support.
Yeah, see, that's crap. Because I don't know anybody who doesn't have their kids who ain't paying support. Number one. Or if they're seeing their kid, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know of anybody, even mothers included, who get out of that. Where are the people who aren't paying but seeing their kids?
They're like rare.
Yeah, unless they have like a mutual agreement, those people don't exist in the system.
Nope.
Because the system's going to make you pay at the very least for the child's health care.
Oh, and what I was going to say is what's not fair with support is when they take the support into consideration, like for the situation we're talking about, right?
Right.
The person we're talking about has 2 other children through marriage, but they do not take his new household into account. So they take his income that he makes, gives him no allotment for his own life.
Now, if he were able to adopt them, then it would change.
Nope, not even if they're adopted in this state.
Oh, that's too bad. You should have... Oh, that's too bad.
Only if they are blood related. And then they still don't count because it goes by first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's not how it counts in any other state. That is not how it counts in any other state. That's too bad. That's really too bad.
In her state, where the child support order is, which is about the only state that we've been able to try to get anywhere with trying to do anything, in that state, which is Tennessee, they're basically like, she doesn't live here anymore, so we don't know what to say. But technically, they're the state that has jurisdiction because that's where
the money's coming from.
The support, right? And she lived there for so long, and that was the last place that she was on state health.
Right.
So they have her nailed there, and she still technically has and holds an address there. And so that would be where we would have to take her to court. And the problem is they say that there's no way to take her to court without a lawyer. And if you do get a lawyer, they want a $6,000 retainer because he hasn't seen the child in so long. It doesn't matter if it was his choice or not.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. Because when you've been actively
and the
trying...
every lawyer says to him, the very first thing every lawyer says to him is, why have you waited so long?
No one purposely waited. Like, you've been literally trying the whole time. Like, that's a joke.
And you're like, you don't understand. She just moved. Yeah, no, that's not really going to fly with a judge.
Well, it's going to have to, because that's what she did. She can't prove that she's had a permanent residence, so what do you mean that's not going to fly? That's the way it is. Like, is it going to fly that this child is bounced around the country from place to place to place, put God knows who where with who what, and that's just okay because mom decided it was a good idea?
Yep.
See, and this is why people need to be more in-depth with their laws, because this is the type of crap that happens. You know, luckily as far as we know with her, nothing has happened. But people like the woman...
Oh, well, that's not true.
Hold on. But I was going to say, like, the woman who we're going to interview here pretty soon on Clarity After Dark, her child, through the DPS system, was allowed to be raped and murdered. These people don't care.
I was just going to say, but you forget that this woman got married, and the story through her family that was told to us was that she got divorced because the man sexually molested her daughter, which is who we're talking about.
Right.
Said person's daughter that's not allowed to see them. And supposedly he sexually molested her, and he is sitting in jail for it. and that the father has never even been notified.
See, that's sick. That's just disgusting. Why wouldn't you think at that point...
By CPS or by the mother, nobody...
CPS is supposed to by law. But why wouldn't you think that in a case like that, you wouldn't start looking for potential other placement because maybe mom's choices aren't that great?
Yeah, or anything. Like, you would think, especially with no custody order and him being on the birth certificate, that he would at least have to be contacted when something like that happens.
You're supposed to be by law.
Yeah, no, because we believe from what family told us, she told them that he's dead, and apparently they didn't look into it.
And I could see that, too, because you know what? Somebody in a small-town place just takes somebody's word for it and then doesn't really look into it and thinks, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and we know that she originally had told the child that the father was dead.
You know, stuff like that.
Because when he did finally get to see her at 4 years old, he had to convince her that he was even her dad, because the picture she pulled out, she's like, he's gone. He's not here anymore. He's to a different place now. He's in heaven. And he's like, no, that's me. And she's like, no, it's not. Mom says you're dead.
See, that's crazy. At that point, any psychologist in their right mind should have put her through a mental examination and should have really thought about that. Like, that's... Anybody who could play a lie like that to a child is sick.
And he had to show her his tattoos that matched in the picture. And then he went in there to call the mom on it, because we were there on a civil visit. He went in there to call the mom on the bullshit. And she was like, oh, I don't know why she would say that. Oh, right, because a 4-year-old's just going to make up the fact that you told her that her dad was dead for the last 4 years. She just made up, the things kids say.
You know, tonight, I was giving my little one a bath, and she happened to ask me, I said something, and, somehow it got brought up, because I told her not to sit, by the drain, because there was a little girl here who got her insides sucked out from a drain. And she was like, oh, no. And she was like, what happens? And I was like, well, sometimes you might go to heaven. And she's like, what's heaven? And she's 4. And I've explained it to her a few times already. And she's 4. So somebody had to be really drilling it home for a child to just come out with that as the answer.
Right.
I mean, that's just truth.
And other things that she would say, there was an incident after she started seeing him because she had asked for money and we declined giving it to her because we were already paying child support, and we had declined. And
well, because you didn't decline because the child didn't necessarily deserve extra money. You declined because you knew that the money wouldn't go to the child. Let's be clear here.
Oh, right. And we got a call from a family member again saying that she had to go pick the child up at daycare at the time because the child was freaking out at school, that her mom was upset because her dad poured hot lava on her with his words and she's burning.
Right.
Literally the child's words to the teachers at her daycare or preschool.
Wow.
Okay? There was another incident where she had to go get picked up by the same family member because she attacked the little boy at school because he was playing swords with a tree and he was hurting the tree and wouldn't understand that he was hurting the tree, so she hurt the boy.
Wow.
Then there was another incident when she visited us and was with us and the said family member that gave us all the information had to come with her in order for her to visit her own father. But the said family member came and, while that week-long visit happened, it was stated that the mother told her but she had to come back, and she couldn't live with her dad, because if she did, she would kill her mother. It would kill her, physically kill her. And the child was really afraid her mother was going to, like, really die if she did not go back. But then told us she didn't want to go back. She wanted to stay with us. But she had to go back because Mom was going to die if she didn't. And then when she went back from said visit, she was calling me Mama Red. And said family member, which was pretty much the last time said family member was even really allowed to see the child or the mother, because she literally told said family member the child doesn't have enough room in her heart for more than one parent, packed her up that same freaking night and disappeared.
Wow.
Totally disappeared. And that was the first moment that we could not contact the child anymore. And it's been like that now for the last, so that happened at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 7 years. It's been 7 years now.
Right.
Approximately 5 years ago, we tracked her down again, finally through a family member, and we found her in California. And we got a work phone number from her, and we were able to contact her through said work phone number. Upon doing so, she was super sweet, super nice, promised to have the child call, and then didn't. And then was contacted at work again the next day, and she was nasty this time, and basically said, if you want to talk to her, if you want to see her, take me to court.
Right.
So then we asked for an address to have her served. And she laughed and said, figure it out. So we said, fine. And we hung up the phone, and we called 3 days later to get the address of the work, because we were going to have her served at work. And she no longer worked there and was gone.
How can someone be so craftful? You know, that just shows intention.
And then we'll tell people outside of the family and outside of everybody, she uses this single mom thing as a thing. People give her money. People pay her bills. People do all these things because, I'm a single mom, and her dad's a deadbeat who will take care of 2 kids that aren't his but won't take care of his own. She did deny, I don't know if she still does, but she did deny receiving any type of support until she couldn't deny it anymore, because I literally plastered the receipts all over her social media. Which is probably why I'm banned from all of her social sites.
Right.
Because you can't say he's not doing anything if he's paying his support.
Right.
And you're claiming that you're not getting anything, you're not getting support. Physically, you're not getting support anyway. He's a deadbeat. He doesn't want. No, it's not that he doesn't want to spend time. It's not that he doesn't want to be a father. It is that you decided at some point that you were not going to allow that to happen. And any person who decides that they're going to have a child with somebody and then decides that they're the only one that child needs and separates themselves and prevents the other parent from seeing the child, you don't get to cry single parent.
Right. That's true, though.
Because you're a single parent by choice.
Right. Yeah, and single parents, and honestly, the definition of single parent isn't necessarily, definable. But at the same time, too, if the person wants to be involved, you're no longer a single parent. Like, you may be on your own dealing with issues singly, But you're co-parenting the children if the other party wants to be involved.
You don't get to sit around and cry single parent sympathy and get people to help you when there is a perfectly willing and capable other person in the situation that you just prevent from having anything to do with.
Right. That's different from a deadbeat walking away.
Right.
Totally different situation. Not even the same thing.
And this is not necessarily new, because when she was pregnant with that child, she did this crap to him too. She moved from state to state and made him chase her.
Wow. Nobody should have to chase anyone if they want to be involved. That should be the bottom line.
Especially because this isn't like this was a shock and surprise thing.
Right.
They actually planned it.
Right.
Together.
Right.
And it was agreed upon, and it was even stated, this is because I know that you would be a really great father, and no matter what, you'll always be in her life. I'll never take her away from you, this, that, all up until the child was born, and then it was a totally different story. She tricked them.
It's awful. And so many other people are dealing with that. Unfortunately.
This wasn't an unplanned or unwanted thing, like I said. They planned it, and then she tricked him into what she wanted and then ran away with this child. And that has left a scar.
Yeah.
A big one.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize the trauma that they can create that when they affect other people.
Nope.
That's the truth.
Oh, well, she's a Cusco, though, dude.
Mm.
You know what I mean by that. Where he's like, boom, Cusco-topia, complete with water slide. And the guy's like, but what about all the villagers that live here? Don't care.
Right.
That's her. That's her. And my mother-in-law actually describes her as her exact terminology for her to me was, don't trust her, Red. A dog always returns to its vomit.
Mm. Wow.
And coming, you know my mother-in-law. Coming from that woman, that's like the harshest thing she could say.
That's true.
Like, that is Mom's, like, right. I can't even say curse words when I say her name first. Like, that's cursing for her.
Right.
A dog returning to his vomit like that, that's like her being like, she's a whore of Babylon. Which I've also heard her refer to her. So, Oh, and she actually looked at his mother, because she did meet her, right?
Right.
She looked at her mother and told her, I'm going to have your son's child, and I'm going to do it because he's a hard worker and he'll pay for the rest of his life.
Mm.
And when she tried to warn him, he confronted her. She basically sent us out of the line. She, cried through little things and got him to walk away from her and the rest of his family for years and years and years. And she always said that it was his fault that I know from the horse's mouth now, it wasn't really.
Right.
And she ruined a whole, like, mother-son, father-son relationship. And she ruined a brother-sister and a sister-brother relationship. Because he was completely cut off from the family because of her, completely. He wasn't even allowed to call there.
Wow.
Because they felt so strongly that she was so evil. And I will use the term evil because that is what they use. Because you know they're very, very religious.
Right.
Yeah, their exact terminology is, yeah, she's very evil.
And that's something that should change for the future. You know, it's not okay.
As long as he was with her, he was evil too.
And I get that. You know, some people believe that whomever you're around influences you.
So he wasn't even allowed to call. He couldn't even call him his brother or sister or his own mom or his stepdad. Nothing. If he did call, they didn't answer or hung up on him. And we were together for years before they would even accept speaking to me. And they put it off for quite a few years to meet me. And then when they finally did, they were like, oh my God. And they love me. They don't agree with everything that I do, but they don't think I'm evil. And they adore me, and they're proud to call me their daughter-in-law. As weird as I am, they accept that.
Well, you know, that's good. That's such a good thing. You know, like, at least something good came out of it.
They try to show their support to us the best that they can. They came out last Thanksgiving, not this recent one, but the one before, and they helped build up part of the barn. And we did that with them, and they gave us a lot of advice, and we actually took a lot of that advice and applied it. And, you know, we've been trying to visit them, and they've been trying to visit us. We've been quite successful in seeing each other almost every year. This will be the first year that we didn't make it there this year. We did not make it this year.
Right.
But we're super close, and we're not going to make it this year. Last year we did make it last year, but we're going to make it within the next month or so this year. So then I don't know. We may do it again. We may be able to do it again a second time this year.
It's exciting.
Because they're really not that far from us.
No, and that means I'm not that much farther than that. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is
I don't give a damn. You coming off, you taking extra days. I don't give a shit. You're only going to be 4 hours away, bro. I will kill you. I will go down there and snatch you in the night. I'll get the white van.
She's like, I will get the free candy van. It will happen.
It will happen. And I will snatch you. And then you won't go back. So, decide.
I have to come back. You don't want my gangsta grandmas coming looking for your ass.
Gangsta granny's gonna have to come to the woods. Come on, gangsta grannies. We'll smoke a fatty when you come.
Live in the woods. They ain't scared.
We'll smoke a fatty when you come. But you're gonna have to find her. because she didn't want to come see me. And yeah.
Make no mistake, my gangster grannies would come looking for my ass, too.
I don't care. I'm your best friend. I will make sure they never find you. I will look for you. Hear me.
You will lose the best friend card, G. We've talked about this. If
I can't kill you.
We're no longer best friends. Like,
yes,
that don't happen.
Yeah,
like,
that
you
was.
Don't get to cry
we did actually have.
For my body and talk about what good friends we are if you're the one that killed me.
Because, okay, you guys, the reason why we say this is this was a real story that we reported on Clarity After Dark. Like, this is not, like, we joke about it now, but, right? This was a real story that happened. We're a best friend, and this just happened recently with the woman in Texas where the woman cut out her baby.
Actually, it was the story that we reported on was quite a few years ago.
Yeah, it was quite a few years ago, but there was just a recent one too in Texas where the woman cut out her baby. But
yes,
this wasn't that.
And the story that we reported on was actually a group of girls.
It was a group of girls
that had all been, there were two girls and they were best friends, and then this new girl kind of moved in and she got into the group, but then like somehow the original one got separated off and she wasn't so much in the group, and these other two killed her.
Yes.
And then like hit her body, and then like we're all over social media. We're like at her mom and dad's house and consoling her parents and oh my God, out in search parties looking for her and crying all over everywhere about their best friend, and even did the funeral service and everything.
She was like at like the main memorial, made like the picture boards, like y'all. She was playing it up.
Yes, and then it was like, I don't know, it was a little while after everything when they realized that they were the ones that killed her, and we were like, okay, so listen. No. If you're the one that killed me, you don't get, we are no longer friends.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We ain't friends. Friend card revoked, which is when Scarlett and I came up with friend cards.
Yeah, it was, because we were like, no, see, we need to identify a way that if you kill me...
Apparently, we grew beyond friend cards, skipped friend cards altogether, not even gonna lie, because we didn't even like print any up, and went straight to friend mugs.
Friend mugs! Let's talk about friend mugs, yes!
That's what we did.
That is what we did.
We have identifying friend mugs to see that we are friends.
Right. Right.
This is identifiable now.
Right. We're going to put it on the lexicon, and then everybody will see it, and then till perpetuity, we'll put it on Twitter, because we know that goes to the Library of Congress. That way, they could be like, oh yeah, see, look, they was friends. That was true. But yes, friend cards, very important to have out here, because apparently friends think that they can just, snatch you up and cut your baby out. Like the woman in Texas, it was her best friend, Red.
Oh man,
cut the baby out, killed her, put her in the woods, the desert. And then, yeah, it was really messed up. I'm not even gonna lie, that one had me like, whoa. And then there was the other one, the lady from the Facebook group who pretended to befriend this woman that she had baby clothes for, and then only to steal her baby, pass it off as her own.
Right.
And then the baby lived for like a month or two, and then the baby died.
Yeah.
But for like the first 2 weeks, no one even knew that this woman was pretending to be the mother, because they never had even done a vaginal check.
Wow.
Yeah. Had they, when that woman first came in, did a vaginal check and been like, hey, you just had a baby at home. It seems like you had a hard birth. Seems like your baby's having a hard time. Let's check you out. No one ever did that. No one ever said, hey, do you need pads?
Right.
do you need disposable underwear? Because they would know she's postpartum. Like, you came from home, and it's not like you brought stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, the whole thing was so sketchy when it happened. But this is why it's important, you guys, to stay on top of it. Because, apparently, people think they can just, befriend you, and then snatch you up, and then take your baby.
Now, totally on a different subject.
Right.
But I want to take us back to these bills and things that some of these states are trying to write up to not feed our dementia and Alzheimer's patients anymore, right? Which we've covered in the past.
Right. Okay. Yes. And little Tinsley, they have decided that they can pull her off life support.
Okay.
You know little Tinsley in Texas? The little 11-month-old?
Yeah.
Now they say, and people are actually agreeing with this. They're like, oh, if they're not compatible for life and the state has to pay for it, we need to just end their suffering. Why would they want to live in a body like that? That's the same thing the Nazis did when we did our story about the eugenics program, the kindness through health program or whatever, where they just killed them.
Yeah. Now, okay, so I took us back, right, to what we covered before.
Right.
And now some of these states trying to get these bills passed that look like they actually really may pass for, like, not feeding the Alzheimer's and dementia patients. Like, if they don't remember to eat it, fuck them. It's basically just a way to kill them. And I do hope that you have us marked as explicit today about it.
I do.
Anyway, now, jump ahead to right now, right?
Nope.
Just read an article. Alzheimer's vaccine ready for human trials. Okay, now wait. Because I know that a lot of people out there are like, what? She didn't say was vaccine, she just said, I did. So let me repeat it for you. Alzheimer's vaccine ready for human trials. Now, hold the phone, G.
Right.
I want to ask you a couple things, okay? One, last I knew, and maybe you have different information, so let me see. Last I knew, you can't cognitively diagnose Alzheimer's.
No, it's like a longer process because, they say it's a neurodegenerative disease and all of that.
Last I knew, they couldn't even treat it.
No, there is no treatment. There's some medications that they claim that can be used, but that's about it.
Now, last I knew, their answer for it was put them in a nursing home and wait till they die.
Right.
But there's a vaccine to prevent it.
Right.
You don't even, at last I also knew you didn't even know actually what put anybody at risk for it. You didn't know even what caused it.
Right.
But you can prevent it without knowing what caused it.
Right.
I'm very curious in that. How is that possible? Scratching my head. Then I look at, again, going back to, they're talking about not feeding the Alzheimer's and dementia patients, and then they're going to give out a vaccine to prevent Alzheimer's that they can't diagnose cognitively, which means you can't do a blood test on somebody like when they're born or even when they're 20 years old and go, oh, you're going to get Alzheimer's when you're 50. or even that you're at risk for Alzheimer's. They can't even tell you if you're at risk.
Right.
And then remember that we're now in 2020. The previous 1920.
Right.
And I believe it was 1820. Both had massive plagues that wiped out massive amounts of the civilization, population. I don't want to say civilization, population. And then, what scares me even more is then the new HIV vaccine is ready for distribution.
Yeah. It is.
And it's going out. And HIV medication, by the way, which we reported on when it happened approximately, I believe it was a little over a year ago, when they hiked the price of HIV medication through the roof. Remember? Hello? Am I still here? Oh. Did you leave? I don't know. I don't know. Are you back? Are you there? Am I here? I would assume if I wasn't here, you would have said something, but I don't know. The system's been so messed up. Is there anybody out there? Oh, Scarlet. Damn you, Scarlet.
Damn you, Red. I was getting a snack because you were on a roll.
There you are.
Well, wow. I was getting a snack because you was on a roll, and then you weren't. Apparently.
Well, I was like, do you remember that? And I was like, we've had so many problems with the system. I don't know. Hello, am I here? I don't even know.
And all I hear is, damn you, Scarlet. So, I'm back, Red. Hello.
So what I said is, if you remember, a little over a year ago, we reported on how they skyrocketed the price of the HIV drug.
Right.
Well, they skyrocket that, which has never changed. They never took the price down.
Right.
So they're outrageously expensive.
And?
Now, HIV vaccine is supply.
Yeah, and...
Yet another thing that they say there's no cure for.
Right.
That they don't really understand it.
Right.
And that, you know, the medications just slow down up the process. But yet, again, you're going to prevent it. I have issues with this, man.
Man, why for this though? Why for Alzheimer's and AIDS, right? Why is it that it's the two things that they claim haven't been cured, don't have a cure, lifelong, degenerative, then you die, but yet now somehow they got a vaccine to prevent it?
Yeah.
Where the cure at?
Right. Oh, and cancer. Don't forget, the cancer vaccine is supposed to be released this year, too.
Again, I say, where the cure at?
And general, like the cancer vaccine is like very general. And my thing with cancer is an abnormal collection of cells, which is an individual basis. So how can you prevent that without individually making the vaccine per individual?
Remember when we read that thing about that machine, though, that could make 800 vaccines a day? Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's how they do that.
But they would have to match it to you specifically.
Yeah, they said it would be biomedically available using that CRISPR-9 technology.
Right. But what I'm saying is they haven't done that with this cancer vaccine.
No. I mean, I don't know, not yet.
So how is it supposed to work, period? Like, how is it supposed to work? Again, it's another thing that you can't cure. You only have medications that prolong.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you do supposedly cure it, you don't say it's cured. You say it's just in remission.
No, now it's no evidence of disease. You don't even get remission anymore.
Okay.
Mm. And they make you take chemo every 5 years as maintenance.
Yeah.
No matter what. So now you don't even get remission.
Right.
That's the thing of the past.
So this is 3 things that they're going to unleash this year, while in the middle of having a forced vaccination war thing happening.
Well, yeah, in concentration camps.
And concentration camps.
Mm-hmm. AB 99.
Oh my God, G, I just put it together.
Why?
Okay, so that New York bill says that they can put you in the camp and that they can experiment on you and that they can blah, 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 and they'll perfume. Where are they getting their guinea pigs? Think we just nailed it.
Right. These going to be the new guinea pigs because, yeah, they said they can court-order vaccinations, antibiotics, whatever they want.
Experimentation, whatever they want, for the betterment of society.
Yeah, for the greater good. You must suffer for the greater good. Your child must suffer for the greater good. Your child can't live because the greater good.
Right.
Etc.
I'm sorry. I'm not setting my child on fire ever.
To save yours, right. Why would I set myself on fire to save you? And you're not even trying to put a hand out to help me. And you're right next to the water. Of which you could freely drink and put me out. And then you just walk by. And then you think I'm going to be involved. No.
Okay, I got it. I'm on air. Thanks.
Yeah, rude. Not your show. Calm down, Peanut Gallery. See, that's why he's Peanut Gallery, y'all. See, this is how he got that name. With that bull. Just like that. That's exactly how he got that name. Continuing on. Oh, did you hear about the new RSV vaccine they're coming out with in the hospitals? Because they found that this year they've seen more RSV than usual. And so...
Okay, so that's now a 4th one.
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
Yeah, because you're right. That would be a fourth one. I also read an article about how now China is now making their own vaccines in China because it's cheaper and they don't have to wait as long for the vaccines.
Oh, Lord.
Mm-hmm. Because apparently things like Prevnar were not available besides United States makers. And they were ordering from the United States.
Right. Which, again, doesn't make sense to me because we're told that vaccines are by strain and that strains go by
location. Yeah, geography.
And so if they're getting vaccines from America shipped over to them to get, which doesn't make sense to me when we're shipping these vaccines everywhere, because according to what they say, these vaccines won't for the strains in the countries that we're sending them to anyway.
Nope. No, they will not.
So I don't understand. I don't get it.
Well, look, in the AB 99, there's a group called, like, the Global Migration and, like, Disease Division. Okay. And I found that interesting that that wording was put in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, if people don't know, immigration, migration, whatever the hell you want to call it, it's happening and people are coming in.
Right.
And make no mistake, if they're coming in legally, they're getting vaccines.
Right.
They're going to the travel vaccination clinics before they come, and they're getting vaccinations. And that's just the way it is.
I'm sorry, I had to fight off the leprechaun. It was scary.
Oh, I was going to say, are we going to lose Red in this sneeze attack? So, but when you think about it, that's going to be a lot of people. You know, if we let in, 200,000 or whatever, that's 200,000 fully vaccinated people who come in, who now can be vectors of disease, who probably will travel back and forth to their countries. And we found most of the people who have brought outbreaks have not been of United States origin or have been fully vaccinated.
Right. Like the school that broke out all with whooping cough.
In Texas.
In Texas, that they had to close the whole school. The whole school was 100% vaccinated for whooping cough.
Yep, 100%. Now, how do you explain that? That's secondary failure. That this is the bigger picture that all of us know the house of cards will fall eventually. Is the more they mandate and the more that kids, even in New York this has already happened, the more that they say, oh no, non-vaccinated kids can come back, the faster that if the kids do get vaccinated to go back to school or everybody's all vaccinated together, the more we're going to see outbreaks.
Right.
We're going to see larger, this is why doctors say that they're puzzled right now why influenza B is super popular and why it's not the influenza A strain that usually takes most people out. And they usually see it later in the season. Well, now you guys have people take year-round flu shots. So if flu shot season technically never ends and everybody catches it early, by this time of year, yeah, everybody's going to be in that secondary form of flu for the season. Because everybody's been walking around with it for 4 to 5 months. I mean, they ask people in June. They say, hey, we start to get our flu shots already. Do you want one? Walgreens never puts away their signs. CVS never puts away their signs. Walmart never puts away their signs. They act like you can get one year-round now. So I think that mentality, in a way, for them has backfired because they used to be able to keep it really tight within, October through, this time they tried to be like, oh, well, it's getting late in the season to get one, or you've ran out, or whatever. But they tried to get people more during then so that in February, March, April, we saw the peak of disease. Well, now that you're having people get them in August and July, and now you're seeing the most of the outbreak during these times, and the rest of the year we'll probably see flu kind of tip off. That's what I think's going to happen. Regardless of they say, oh, it's inactivated. Okay, but under what, has it been studied to find out under what circumstances, if ever, could be activated? Because I don't think we've done that. And I know we haven't. And that's a big part of it, because if something, how could it could be even something as simple as something we eat could then activate it in our systems. Or certain genes that people have activated. And now it's reactivated and not inactive.
Right.
So, I think that there needs to be more testing, less shunning of parents. This whole we hate anti-vaxxer people, thing, and making fun of it, and the way they've turned it into, like, a group of people. It's really sad. We almost, at this point, we need protections, because we're going to be vilified like the witch hunt. We already see it now in certain people and groups. They attack certain figures daily.
Right.
We're just people who are bringing an intelligent discussion to light and trying to gain knowledge. But if we can't even have a conversation, how is knowledge supposed to be created, as we went over on Sunday?
Right.
We can't, because they're not willing to have that conversation to move forward.
Right.
That's the only thing that concerns me. We need to find a different way. Because this isn't going to work. All these other people cry about rights, and then when we actually have, basis in science, they're like, oh, believe science, but we don't believe your science.
Right.
How does that work? How is science not science? I thought this science was settled. But the definition of science is never settled. It's the study of.
And it changes every 50 years.
Yes. And we went through that before in a previous episode. I forget what the actual phenomenon is called. It's like the decades effect or something. Decay theory? Decay theory?
I can't even tell you, my internet's not working, and I don't know where my notebook is.
Yeah, but I think it was like something decay or something like that. It sounds right.
Right.
Let's go with that.
Every 50 years,
yeah, go and explain what it is.
Proves or disproves its known fact.
Right. And or the public perception.
Change what they...
Yes.
And so no longer scientific facts, no longer actually scientific facts.
Right. And so the facts actually can change into something different. They can morph completely from the original thoughts. And so that is one of the problems I think we're having right now with quote-unquote vaccine science is a lot of this is old. It's never been debunked. Not in the way it should be. Because a lot of these theories can be poked a hole in really quick, like herd immunity. Herd immunity was set up with actual wild immunity, not with vaccines. So to base a theory on something that was actually real is a lie.
Right.
Because truth is something real or an experience. But them just trying to say that's a lie. Because herd immunity was based on the fact of people wildly catching these diseases and wildly passing them, therefore creating immunity when you came in contact with it again. Not that before you come in contact with it, you can inject it so that if you ever come in contact with it, it's a lesser experience. No, you still catch the disease. And it still could be the
Right.
worst case you've ever had, and you still could die. And people need to stop. Because I seen a woman today posting about, damn you anti-vaxxers, my fully vaccinated child was diagnosed with pertussis. And if I didn't get the vaccine, it would have been so much worse. And yet, you don't know that. With the vaccine or without, it still could be the worst case you've ever seen regardless. There is no long-term study that proves out of a bazillion pertussis cases, wild or not, that it reduces symptoms, it reduces duration, none of that.
Right.
So until those things...
Again, we have to go back to the fact that in all of these little reports that we hear, right, your unvaccinated child, my child's sick now, my child's in the hospital, but you never hear about this unvaccinated child being in the hospital now, do you? Why is that? Because how does somebody who doesn't have
Oh, you cut out there, Red. Try that one more time.
the unvaccinated animal someone who doesn't.
Ooh, they're buffered. Ooh, they cut you off. We're gonna bring Red back. Bring Red back. Cause I think I know how to do it now. Bring Red back. We're bringing Red back. We're bringing Red back. Bring Red back. Cause I think I know what I'm doing now. Okay, we'll see. I might not know what I'm doing at all, but let's see. We're gonna try it.
This is Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, and we want to help your house feel more like a home with some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates have dropped so much that many Americans can reduce their rate. You may be able to save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.23%. Call us at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to see this is
Well,
rate.
yeah,
Call
I
for
know. I
cost
gotta wait
information
till this
and conditions. Equal
commercial's
housing
done
lender.
so I
Licensed
can
all
hear
50
it.
states. NMLS number 3030.
And our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.23%. Call us at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to see this is
Well,
rate.
yeah,
Call for
I know.
cost
I gotta
information
wait
and
till this
conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
And our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%.
Is that all we're gonna do? This is a loop or what?
4.23%. Call us at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to see
Because
this is
I
rate.
just keep hearing that.
Equal housing lender. Licensed all 50
Are we
states.
just
NMLS
stuck in a
number 3030.
loop?
And our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. Call us at 800-QUICKEN.
Yeah, it's the commercial again, over and over. Which is so weird, right? But I could hear you and hear me, like, barely.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to see this is rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Yeah, it keeps playing that stupid commercial. I don't know why it's doing that still. Which is so weird, right? Okay, hold on. But I could hear you and hear me, like, barely. That's so weird. Okay. Yeah, it keeps playing that stupid commercial. I gotta get it to where we're at now. I don't know why it's doing that still. Okay, let's see if that... Which is so weird, right? So annoying. But I could hear... It's so weird. I don't even know why this does it the way it does, but it cuts you out on the Skype, so give me like 2 seconds and I'll call you back on Skype. Because apparently Skype hates us. Unless I can hear us. But like I said, for some reason, it keeps looping the commercial. And I don't know how it would do that. It's so weird.
You would hear me like...
Yeah, it's still the commercial, so I'm going to unplug that because something got looped in the ether, and then I'm going to call you back on the Skype. Okay, so we're going to call Red back. We don't know what that even was, or why it kept playing and looping the commercial. So strange. So strange. Okay. So we're back now. Yeah, I don't even know what that was about. Like, apparently technology hates us, and when I found a way around it, it was like, no, you didn't find a way around it. But I did find a way around it. So next time it should work if we start it that way. So.
Okay, so the field of scientometrics. Okay.
Okay.
This is the field of scientometrics, the science of measuring and analyzing science. It took off in 1947 with a mathematician named Derek J. D. Solya. Price was asked to store a complete set of the philosophical transactions of the Royal Society temporarily in his house. He stacked them in order, and he noticed that the height of the stacks fit an exponential curve. Price started to analyze all sorts of other kinds of scientific data and concluded in 1960 that scientific knowledge had been growing steadily at a rate of 4.7% annually since the 17th century. The upshot was the scientific data was doubling every 15 years. In 1965, Price exuberantly observed all crude measures, however arrived at, show to a first approximate where'd it go?
Don't you hate that? When you really have something locked in and it's like, no, you weren't reading that. Not at all.
Right. First approximation that science increases exponentially at a compound interest of about 7% per annum, thus doubling in size every 10 to 15 years, growing by a factor of 10 every half century, and by something like a factor of 1,000,000 in the 300 years which separate us from the 17th century. The upshot was that scientific data was doubling every 15 years. In 1965, Price exuberantly observed all crude measures, however arrived at, showed to a first. Now wait.
Did you skip it? What happened? Okay, continue.
Yeah, we had already read that. Okay, so but we're going to, in 1965, all crude measures, however arrived at, showed to a first approximation that science increases exponentially at the compound interest of 7% per annum, thus doubling in size every 10 to 15 years, growing by a factor of 10 every half a century, and by something like a factor of 1,000,000 in the 300 years, which separate us from the 17th century invention of the scientific paper when this process began. A 2010 study in the journal Scientometrics looked at data between 1907 and 2007 and concluded that so far the overall growth rate for science still has been at least 4.7% per year. Since scientific knowledge is still growing by a factor of 10 every 50 years, it should not be surprising that lots of facts that most people have learned in school and universities have now been overturned and are now out of date. But at what rate do former facts disappear? Abersman applies the concept of half-life, the time required for half the atoms of a given amount of a radioactive substance to disintegrate, to the dissolution of facts. For example, the half-life of the radioactive isotope strontium-90 is just over 29 years. Applying the concept of half-life to facts, Abersman cites research that looked into the decay in the truth of clinical knowledge about cirrhosis and hepatitis. The half-life of truth was 45 years. In other words, half of what physicians thought they knew about liver diseases was wrong or obsolete 45 years later. As interesting and persuasive as this example is, Abersman's book would have been strengthened by more instances drawn from scientific literature. Facts are being manufactured all the time, and as Abersman shows, many of them turn out to be wrong. Checking each by each is how the scientific process is supposed to work, i.e., experimental results need to be replicated by other researchers. How many of the findings in 845,175 articles published in 2009 and recorded in PubMed, the free online medical database, were actually replicated? Not all that many. In 2011, a disheartening study in Nature reported that a team of researchers over 10 years was able to reproduce the results of only 6 out of 53 landmark papers in preclinical cancer research. In 2005, Why Most Published Research Findings Are False, by physician and
statistician?
Yes, thank you. John Ioannidis appeared in the journal PLOS Medicine. Ioannidis cataloged the flaws of much biomedical research, pointing out that reported studies are less likely to be true when they are small. The postulated effect is weak. Research designs and endpoints are flexible. Financial and non-financial conflicts of interest are present, and competition in the field is fierce. Ioannidis concluded that for many current scientific fields, claimed research findings may often be simply accurate measures of the prevailing bias. Still, knowledge advances, spawning new facts and changing old ones. Abersman also delves into what he calls hidden public knowledge. Consider again that nearly 850,000 new articles dealing with biomedical research were published in 2009. Lots of true information will be overlooked in the deluge. Abersman illustrates the point with the case in which Harvard researchers decided to go back and actually look at all of the prior randomized controlled trials relating to heart attacks and the drug streptokinase was effective in treating these heart attacks. Combing through the hidden public knowledge in the prior study, the researchers concluded that the scientists could have found a statistically significant result in 1973 rather than in 1988. No doubt, countless lives were lost because the knowledge of streptokinase efficacy remained hidden in scientific literature for 15 years. The good news. Wait, hold on, it took it away.
Like I said, I hate when that happens. You're on a roll, and then there goes.
Okay, the good news is that better data, dredging techniques, co-pub discovery, and collaborative networking systems like Mendeley have been developed so that fewer facts will languish unused in the future. People also cling to selected facts as a way to justify their beliefs about how the world works. Abersman notes, we persist in only adding facts to our personal store of knowledge that jive with what we already know, rather than assimilate new facts irrespectively of how they fit into our worldview. All too true. Confirmation bias is everywhere. So is there anything we can do to keep up to date with changing facts other than constantly reading Reason? Which is where this article comes from. Abersman suggests that simply knowing what the crap.
What happened again?
Okay. Simply knowing that our factual knowledge bases have a half-life should keep us humble and always seeking new information. Well, hope springs eternal. More daringly, Abersman suggests stop memorizing things and just give up. Our individual memories can be outsourced to the cloud. Through the internet, we can search for any fact we need anytime. Really? The web is great for finding lists of the 10 biggest cities in the United States, but if the scientific literature is merely littered with wrong facts, then cyberspace is an enticing quagmire of falsehoods, propaganda, and just plain bunko. There simply is no substitute for skepticism. Toward the end, Abersman suggests that eventually exponential knowledge growth cannot continue forever. Among the reasons he gives for the slowdown in that current growth rates imply that everyone on the planet would one day be a scientist. The 2010 study in Scientometrics mentioned above also mused about the growth rate in the number of scientists and offered to conjecture that the borderline between science and other endeavors in the modern global society will become more and more blurred. Abersman notes that the number of neurons that he can be recording simultaneously has been growing exponentially, with a doubling time of about 7.5 years. This suggests that brain-computer linkages will one day be possible. I, for one, am not me, no. Whoever wrote this article, for one, is looking forward to updating their factual knowledge daily through direct telecommunication link from the brain to digitized content of the Library of Congress. Sorry, but I had to correct that. I'm like, whoever wrote this article, which was Samuel Abersman. And for anybody who is wondering, Samuel Abersman is the author of The Half-Life Effect, Why Everything We Know Has an Expiration Date. He was a senior scholar at the Kauffman Foundation and an expert in scientometrics. And that is how he looks at how facts are made and remade in the modern world. And since fact-making is speeding up, he does worry that most of us don't keep up to date and base our decisions on facts we just dimly remember from school and university classes that turn out to be wrong.
Right. Wow. That's true, though. I mean, a lot of us go off the knowledge that we had, you know, instead of looking for new information for that knowledge.
Right.
So, it's interesting. But this is how they want us to be slaves to them, though. They know better than us because they have fancy titles and names. It's really what it came down to. You know, and right now we're dealing with potentially sitting on the verge of World War. Meanwhile, Australia is on fire. There are so many things happening at once. All of these crazy bills on the 8th. Wisconsin's going to vote to remove personal conviction waivers.
Right.
That should be scary enough.
Right.
That's all. People should be terrified.
Science is deeply interwoven with society and changes along with it.
Right.
Science was once dominated by men and most recently by men living in Western nations. However, the situation is changing along with science itself. The internet and other technology advances have changed how scientific information is distributed and the process of scrutiny within science.
Wow.
A few examples of how modern scientific practices have been transformed by increasing knowledge, changing societal concerns, and advances in communication and technology.
That's true. Think about how they even have us interacting with each other now.
Right.
So that's true. But it's something to think about, Science changes a lot of how people think and feel. And it's sad because science isn't a solid source, right? Science is always changing and evolving. And it's not just one ideal.
Right. It's not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here's an article. Well, it's a blog from Huffington Post. That's from a few years ago, but this guy's a Harvard MBA that talks about, is autism in the gut? And could some antibiotics change things for kids?
Right.
We tried, giving them vancomycin, and they seen severe improvements. And there was only one research study. But why not look into that?
Right.
Because they said 8 out of 10 children with severe autism experienced marked improvements in their autism when they were given vancomycin. This is a paper published in 2000 that documented a clinical trial at Chicago Rush Children's Hospital. Why not try an antibiotic? It could be, and they talk about potentially, it could be an acquired metabolic syndrome where the microbiome and the immune system play a role. And if we know that vaccines interfere with the immune system, why couldn't this connect?
Right.
And somebody should try this. Like they said, it's not technically, and it's not an anecdotal study. It was a rigorous study conducted by highly qualified researchers at a preeminent mainstream medical institution. And This man said it was a national embarrassment that additional funding has not been allocated to clean it up. I'm not advocating the use of antibiotics for a long-term treatment for autism, but arguing that we should use these findings as one of many potential clues for directions in research. They say that hopefully we're on the verge of a paradigm shift where the underlying condition is more of an acquired syndrome that arises from externally induced changes in metabolism, immune function, and microbiome, things that vaccines all do, And the encouraging view is that we can believe that many of these children can get better. We need to fund this kind of research. And I think that's true. Because if it's that simple, like, if it's that simple, seriously. What's an antibiotic to potentially change families' lives? That's just the truth. That's all. So we gotta find something else, but I think there's gonna be a lot more pushback in 2020. I think people realize that you can't kind of pussyfoot your way through this anymore. And that it's time that we start standing up for our rights and what we believe in.
Right.
Because otherwise we're going to lose our rights. Like, yeah, I just don't know what to say.
Right.
Because we're going to have to find a different way to take over this and be stronger and try to find a way to break through this misinformation, this reprogramming. It's sad. You know, Australia's on fire in the same areas that they wanted to initiate smart cities, on the same areas that they want to put a high-speed rail line, on the same area that they did this in America, on the same type of high-speed rail line. And the whole country is burning. People are being told to shelter in the ocean, Red. Shelter in the ocean because there's nowhere to go and everything's on fire and they can't get them out. I mean, that is just intense.
Right.
So, I mean, we need to start thinking about this, though. Something's got to change. Seriously, something's got to change. I don't know what we're going to do this year because they're coming hard at us with attacks that make no sense. And it's just ridiculous. So,
right.
I mean, it's crazy. I just think that at this point, with so many rules and things going on, we gotta just, think about it a little bit. People are trying to destroy people's lives on the daily now and trying to bring things into real life. And all we're trying to do is protect our autonomous rights. And the sad part about it is I hope Australia wants to protect their rights too, because I can only imagine how many people and how many farmers right now are getting burnt out.
True.
And they're not going to talk about that. Yeah, they're going to talk about all the people that are losing their places. But at the same time, think about all the farms and the farmers in this area I've looked up in previously. Found out that most of their agriculture and farming comes out of that area of New South Wales.
Right.
So, if I'm a betting person that all of this is burning, basically the whole countries burning in a big circle, which Australia is like larger than the United States. It'd be like literally the whole coast on fire. Something's wrong. We need to wake up. It's time to wake up. They're burning us out. They're burning the animals out. They say 500 billion animals have died. I mean, how can you even quantify that? That's so many animals. And what are they going to do with them all? Where are they burying them all? Where are they getting rid of them all? That's right. What I want to know. Where are they getting rid of all these dead animals? Because if they're burning all over, where are they going? That's all I want to know is where are they going? I just saw a meme that says, y'all was prepared to die storming Area 51. Now y'all scared of World War III. It's funny, though. So many people are talking about Trump and al-Soleimani. And okay, here's the deal. Honestly, the amount of people who are saying that it is okay to have a Benghazi 2 is sickening. Because the issue here was that our embassy was being attacked. Trump sent in folks to make sure our embassy wasn't going to continue to be attacked. And dude happened to be there and he got blown up. So, I'm sorry to be that guy, but are we just supposed to let Americans die because we're over in their country, so they're just supposed to die?
Right.
Or are we supposed to protect them like we should have in Benghazi?
Right.
And not let those people die. And they're like, well, he didn't get permission from Congress. Well, neither did Obama or Bush or Clinton.
Right.
So, why is it such a big deal when Trump does it?
Right.
I want to know. I don't think it's as big of a deal as they're saying because it was cool when all them did it.
Right.
Like, seriously. I don't understand. I just don't absolutely understand what's going on with these people. Something's got to change. We'll see what happens in the future, Red. But, I had just said, like a week ago, when I heard about this joint military effects, that potentially that this was going to happen because right now Iran, China, and Russia are all doing war games out in the South China Sea. And I said, watch for this shit to go live, and then we know it's real. And yesterday was the day that they were going to start the war games out there.
Right.
So I don't find that coincidental.
Right.
At all. So, I mean, I just don't... Not quite sure on that one at all.
Right.
So, I guess we have a caller. Yeah. So we're going to take a caller. Hopefully I can do this. I think I can, though. But with the technical difficulties, it's been a real peach tonight, Red.
Right.
Real peach tonight. So, let's see what we got. Hello, Dwayne. Welcome. You're Clary After Dark.
How are you, ma'am?
I am doing well. Red is here too.
You said Red is here too?
Yeah, Red is here too. Say hello to Red.
Red, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. So, Scarlett.
Yes.
Since I am on the phone with you, did you see what I currently tagged you in on Facebook like 6 hours ago?
Yes, I did.
After the attack on Iran, Russia, and China are now gathering together.
I've been said that and talked about it a week ago on Freedom Revolution Network's Facebook page where I said, watch for this to go live because if this does, it's going to be a war. This would be a good time for World War III. Said it a week ago. I already called it. On top of it.
It is World War III.
Oh, it is, but, I mean, I said watch for it, but, I mean, it is now, but a week ago, it wasn't.
A week ago, we were safe. A week later,
But I was like, watch this, because what if this turns in to something we need to watch?
All the reason we're turning into World War III is, I guess, in the air missile strike. I can't remember who was killed. Iran's general.
Soleimani.
Military general?
Yep.
Yeah.
What about it?
Oh. With him being killed, our president just doesn't know how to stay out of anything.
Well, you gotta remember, this was like Benghazi too, though. So they were attacking our U.S. Embassy, which is technically our legal American soil on Iraqi ground.
Right.
So we can attack from there without permission from Congress to start a war because it's our own land. Number one. So you gotta remember that. Number two.
Okay.
When they're called to the Situation Room, Pelosi was called and told to come. Everybody is called and told to come to the Situation Room to watch this on the screens that they have to make sure the mission goes through. This is all political theater. Is it not, Red?
Yeah.
I'm saying. Because they already did this. They watched this on screens last night. They have the transcripts, the body cams from the soldiers, everything. Drones in the air, all of it.
Wait, no. I'm not saying that it shouldn't have happened.
No, what I'm saying is that the government, and even the leftist government, knows more than what they're saying in public and trying to blame it all on Trump when they know that they were in the Situation Room looking at this attack and saying, yeah, go for it.
Here's my thing, is I believe U.S. military had intel that their Iran's military general was in that airport.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they had intelligence. They had probably intelligence officers on the ground in the airport.
And that this was on purpose.
Well, it probably was.
As Trump is trying to say that the death of a military general.
Yeah, but some of our guys died too.
Not on purpose.
Yeah, but some of our guys died too. So our guys are just supposed to die because Iranians? Like, that's such a... I've seen so many people say that on Facebook today, but the issue is our American embassy was attacked in Iraq. We allowed this to happen in Benghazi. Trump...
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know about the U.S.
Yes,
embassy.
you need to know about Benghazi. Red... Benghazi, though.
No, I know about Benghazi. I didn't know that.
This was about to be Benghazi, too, at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. So Trump stopped Benghazi, too. And they're mad because the people didn't go down the way they wanted it to. And they thought Trump would stand down. And they didn't think they'd take this dude out when he's actively calling for attacks on the U.S. Embassy while he's sitting in the Baghdad airport. That's a joke.
See, See? Because now with World War III going on.
Well, I wouldn't call it World War III yet. I'd call it a heated conflict.
More heated conflict, possibly World War III.
Possible World War III. I don't call it World War III. Red, do you think it's World War III yet? Don't die on us, though. But do you think it's World War III yet?
Sorry, I'm fighting off leprechauns again.
I know. The damn leprechauns.
I don't think we're there yet.
I don't think we're there yet either.
Well, and the only reason I say that is because Iran, Russia, and China, as of
they have decided to go play war games in the South China Sea.
I actually think that the bigger threat right now facing anything is ourselves.
Yep.
Our own government and state and our federal right now, especially Virginia.
Yes.
Nobody realizes Virginia is about to start a civil war.
Amen.
This is about to happen.
Amen.
Exactly.
Like, we're within days.
Amen. That's true. And what if this is a distraction so they can take our guns? What if it's that?
See, and me and my buddy AJ were just talking about this today. Due to the fact that Virginia is with the movement that Virginia has gotten behind, okay?
Right.
Who the fuck is knocking on my door?
I don't know. I am not there with you would you like me to put you on mute for a moment?
No, you're good. I'm on the phone.
Well, you're actually on air live worldwide, like, to be fair.
I know, that's why I lost
yeah, that's why you should say, like, you know, you're not just on a call.
But no. Like I was saying, me and AJ were talking about this. With Virginia, because no state has done what Virginia has done. Okay?
My senator actually came out with a letter, and he went to his local sheriff and has come up with a letter similar kind of to the Constitutional Safe Zone Initiative letter, and has wants people to declare their areas Second Amendment sanctuary counties. Reds County is a Second Amendment sanctuary county, ain't it, Red?
No.
No. Didn't the sheriff say that? Oh, wait. The sheriff can't do it because the city council wouldn't let him, huh? Isn't that the case?
Right. But our sheriff said despite that, he absolutely will not enforce anything that is unconstitutional.
Right. That's what it was.
And that's exactly where I'm at a standstill here in Ohio.
Right.
Because I took the letter that our fearless, boldest leader decided to write up.
Mm-hmm.
I printed it off. Took it down there. We presented it to the city council. City council rejected it right in front of our face.
Bring the Munson letter. Go back and bring the Munson letter and see if that doesn't help. Munson's a very good state representative.
I brought the Munson letter. I brought the letter that Washington.
That didn't even exist yet. I just posted that in the Virginia Sanctuary Counties group like yesterday.
I know. I did this today.
Oh, okay.
I took that today. Trust me, I've watched all your crap. I watched everything you post. On Zello, on your stream page. I watch everything.
Of which I'm blocked right now. Did you know I'm blocked till Monday from posting or liking your groups?
Girl, you're always on Facebook too. That doesn't surprise me.
I never get blocked though. This is censorship at its finest. I don't like it. I always share good stuff. I don't share crap. I share good stuff.
Right, and like I was saying, Virginia is the first state to become a sanctuary
state.
Not a sanctuary city. There's a lot of places that have become a sanctuary city. But Virginia is the first state in the U.S. to become a Second Amendment sanctuary state.
That's true. We do need to be more concerned about Virginia.
Right, but if we also going to look at it this way too, Texas, if we want you to, we can label Texas as a second Amendment sanctuary state, because all of them are.
Well, yeah, you ain't taking guns out of Texas.
You're kill somebody before you take a gun out of Texas.
They're already killing folks that they try to take guns away.
So that's what I'm saying. So with Virginia making that big leap, Virginia actually having the balls to do it.
Right.
For their state governor to go like, we're doing this. Because at this point, it didn't go to the cities. And it goes to any city councils. That went straight to the state governor.
Right.
So when the governor said, screw it, we're doing it, it caused a whole hell of a lot of other issues with other surrounding cities in Virginia. Because there's some cities within Virginia that does not agree that it should be a Second Amendment sanctuary state.
That's true. There's only about 8 of them, though.
See? So you see where the conflict is within Virginia itself.
Oh, yeah.
I personally will be in Virginia with AJ on the 20th.
Oh, you're going? Y'all better hope you're not going to get stuck in a trap down there, though.
I hope not.
Yeah, because, they're passing stuff this week in Virginia.
What are they passing?
Certain laws and stuff, so they might already have these laws in effect by the 20th to where me and a few other people on the channel, you can put together who those people are. We're talking about it, okay? And we were talking about, I'm going to keep their anonymity though. So we were talking about it, and they were saying that some of these things are going to go up to vote on the 8th. And so if they go into effect before the 20th, everybody who shows up on the 20th could be completely in unlawful accordance and then get snatched up.
Unlawful accordance with what?
With the law. If they take away your ability to brandish arms or come armed, they're going to try to throw people in jail because you can't go to a protest like that.
So let me get...
So today is the 4th.
So Virginia just became a sanctuary state, but now they're trying to make it where you can't show up at a protest armed.
Yeah, they're going to pass these laws. It doesn't matter if they're a sanctuary state. The governor is still going to pass into law to take away the guns.
What sense does that make?
It don't make no sense why everybody's going down there to fight. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, Dwayne. That's the whole point.
But we were behind it. A lot of us from our organization are behind Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and try to throw me in jail.
If you're out of accordance with Virginia law, though, that's not going to matter.
Oh, I'm not going to be armed. Oh, I ain't that dumb. Going down there to peacefully protest.
What's the point of going then?
Because I'm going to have my guns with me, but they're not going to be armed. Because here's the thing. As Scarlett, as you have said, okay, it is time for people to stand up instead of speaking with their mouth, to speak with their actions.
Somebody was actually trying to call into the show, Red. Caller, if you can hear us, you can. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. We're gonna pick this up. If we don't jive with it, then we'll go. But let's work with it.
Let's work with it.
You're live on Clarity After Dark.
Caller, if you're on, yeah, there you go.
Hello.
Hello. You are live on Clarity After Dark.
Hi, Scarlett.
Hello.
Hi, Scarlett. This is Bruce out in Kansas. I'm listening to your caller there. And what he might keep in mind is his concealed carry license. It would not surprise me if Virginia passes that they will not recognize anybody's license from any other state, and then he's walking into a trap.
Like no reciprocity. Yeah, that's a good point.
See, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that one.
They could pass that because they've been watching Gadgets and Gadgets, and there's going to be people, probably 50,000 people from all over the United States, and if the reciprocity ain't there and things for your concealed carry, and you got guns in your car or on you or whatever, you're screwed.
See, Scott, I didn't even think of that because I am a concealed carry holder.
I know, I know you and AJ, and I know what the deal is. I know how we're a Patriot group. I don't know, caller, if you've heard too much about us, but Dwayne and I work for a group called USCF, United States Civilian Forces, and we usually work during hurricanes and hurricane season, but anything that has to do with Patriot-related or constitutional safe zone initiatives, we're all about. And so we've got a few boys rolling down there to Virginia just to check on things and to support the folks of Virginia as they, stand up for their rights. And this is something we've been talking about behind the scenes, is some of the legislation that we're seeing going up in the next 4 days could potentially affect how people are going to go down there and protect their rights.
Exactly, because, caller, if you look at it like this, when Virginia passed it, Virginia became the first state to ever become a sanctuary state. We have never seen a state become a legal sanctuary state. We have seen Second Amendment sanctuary cities. But now with Virginia trying to pass the law that they're trying to pass, stating that you cannot openly protest with a firearm on you, makes no sense.
Well, it's the best way to stop the potential takedown of this unconstitutional governor. You silence the people who could be your opposition.
See, like here in Ohio, I protested here in the state of Ohio with my AR-15 strapped to me, my 9mm showing on my leg. I'll admit that, on air, I have both. Scarlett, I'm not afraid to say it.
I know that.
I have protested with AJ quite a few times. Florida, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Ohio, New York. Where there will be 20 or 30 of us, Scarlett, just walking openly armed. In the city of New York, we got stopped by 10 police officers. Rhode Island, same thing. Every state we've ever walked open carried that allows open carry, especially Ohio. Ohio is one of the biggest open carry states.
Yeah,
even though I am a concealed. So you see, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to have an open firearm.
Yeah.
On them, and the police is going to have a hard time because once the cops will try to take your gun and take you to jail. I hate to say this, but there's going to be a lot of casualties involved with this rally. I can see it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but I was just throwing that out there. The way they're thinking up there is for the reciprocity and things could walk into a trap up there, and that one there, they probably could carry it through, but the other stuff, no. And things is what I'm thinking there, Scarlett.
Yep, that's what I'm wondering, because like I said, they have a session on the 8th. We don't know what things will be passed then. that's the big day that we're all kind of waiting and watching for, because if so many bills and they're passing bills through and putting them in like fireworks. When you go check the Virginia registry of bills, you keep seeing new ones added, new ones authored. What we're waiting for is the 8th when the session comes back in. If they put some of these things through, that's going to have to change the whole dynamic of what everybody's planning, from Virginia gun owners to some of the other groups, the military of the militia of Virginia. All of the groups are going to have to now rethink how they're going to go about this.
Yeah, that's my whole point there. I guess for the reciprocity, the other stuff I agree is fully unconstitutional, but on the Second Amendment for concealed carry and all that, what all the states did, where you had to have that piece of plastic concealed carry or just to have it and everything. If they pass that, like I'm from Kansas, if they say we don't recognize Kansas as a reciprocating state, and I go up there with that, and they can do whatever they want to do with me to a point and things, and I was just trying to get the word out for everybody that's thinking about going there to keep an eye on it, like you said, and make sure they don't renege or nullify the reciprocity from other states. And if they are, somebody's going to holding, naughty word, but FEMA camp, in the area, as many people as going to be there.
Oh, yeah. It's going to turn into a we snatch up the people event kind of quickly. Red and I have been paying attention to this for a while. Why we've wondered, especially with the newest distraction with, the world kind of war in Iran, if this isn't a way to deflect, because a lot of people had started talking about Virginia and what's going on there and some of the movements that are happening.
Yeah.
Is this why we're not focusing on it, right, Red? I mean...
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly, one distraction for another distraction.
Yep. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Trap and don't realize it.
Yep. And then we got trapped Americans and people and good patriots that were going there. Because do the people of Virginia, are they willing to take the steps that they need to do to secure the rights for the rest of the people?
Right. And, let's look at it this way. And someone that's even, as, with me being a team leader, at UFC, I'm one of the most patriotic boys besides AJ, whoever me. I was thinking this when I was reading everything today. All right, stuff that our leader posted, in the Virginia group, the conversation that was being held.
Right.
What if this is a way or a weakness? Now look at it like this. Let me get my different mouth on. With the stuff happening in Iran, right?
Right.
Then we have the stuff happening in Virginia. The stuff happening in Virginia could be a possibility for National Guard deployment.
Correct. And our own civil war.
Which can cause civil war between we, the people, and the United States Army.
Right. But still, the real threat, though, is if we don't focus on it, we allow Northam to put these laws through and then take the guns away from the people, and then door-to-door confiscation occurs.
Right. But also, see, I was getting it.
Well,
once National Guard deployment happens, right?
Right.
We've already got the stuff with Iran, possibly Russia, and possibly China.
Right.
One of our biggest worst enemies, Russia. We've had issues with them since the Cold War before.
Right.
So, what if a country looks at this and goes like, the United States is at its weakness? Okay?
Yeah. And they come attack.
And
Yeah.
sets us up for an invasion.
Well, we already have 5,000 plus UN troops inside the United States borders.
Exactly.
And Iranian sleeper cells. And everything else.
Right.
And Iran has already threatened us with those sleeper cells. So absolutely that could happen. That's been a possibility on many Patriots' minds. Red and I have been talking about this for 4 years, that this is what could happen. At our weakest moment, then our enemy and adversary comes to attack us from behind.
Right. And we also, Scarlett, as me and you have been talking about this current week, is we have the issue on the West Coast.
Right. With the Cascadia Subduction event, right.
With the Cascadia Subduction event, Virginia is now on the brink of war. With all this going on, Scarlett, I hate to say it, we're fucked.
Well, that's one way of thinking about it.
If this goes south and all these events line up like they are, because trust me, they're lining up perfectly together.
Well, yeah, I know that. I get that. This is what I do for a living. But for a moment here, let's pause and let's just ponder that. Let's cut the other caller. I didn't get your name, caller. Or what?
I'm Bruce from Ron's Chat, Carly.
Oh, what's up, Bruce? I know you from Ron's Chat. What's up? I've seen you in chat before when I'm mod. Obviously, I'm Clarity After Dark. Yeah. So, yeah, that's great. But let's ponder on that. So, did you have some thoughts about what Dwayne had to say? And then we'll have Red chime in after that.
I didn't catch all of it. I'm having a hard time understanding him on my end. Can you repeat it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can repeat it. So, with the Cascadia event going on the West Coast, with all the magma buildup we've seen, all the volcanic activity, plus the earthquakes, then we have the Virginia incident going on, okay? Then on the brink of World War III, and if we look at it, all these events are lining up just perfect. If all three events happen at one time, we're fine. Because then we're going to have a humanitarian crisis on the West Coast.
Yep.
We're going to have a civil war here on the East Coast, where I'm at.
Right.
And then we got World War III, God knows where.
That's true. I mean, that is a good point, that we're at a pretty big crux point. So if you didn't hear that, basically he's saying with Cascadia Subduction lining up, with Virginia getting to a boiling point, and with the potential for World War III all happening, if this is like the catalyst that goes boom, these are three really large events that would change the landscape further than we've ever known it.
Yeah, the kind of the way I'm looking at it, since Cascadia is not being put on the mainstream news, you know, the regular news,
right.
CNBC, CNN, Fox. Okay, Virginia, and this deal just with this crazy general from Iran getting killed.
Soleimani.
That's what's in the spotlight.
Yep.
Okay, if Cascadia gets wound up, okay?
Yep.
The focus is going to be on that and the communists out in California on what they're trying to do, especially what they've already done to, I'm an amateur radio operator, I am. They took them down to communications for that.
Yep.
Everything's going to be focused on another event, while everything else, you know, Virginia and Iran is going on. Cascadia will be the main story, and the other two will be on the back burner, us not paying attention to it, and it's going to escalate, and they're going to get through what they want to go through, and then a bunch of people are going to go to jail or whatever they're going to do, Scarlett.
Yeah.
Things are just going to flip-flop from one to the other to distract us at the moment. You know, it's certainly got three big fuses lit here, but it's just one of those deals where they're going to bounce from one to the other to keep us occupied. Right hand don't know what the left hand's going to do. And
right.
something's going to happen on everything.
Well, they've already been playing us like a yo-yo with the impeachment. We know that, right? We know that, they've been playing that big, long operatic drama. Okay, so now that's totally on ice. Okay. And if you...
Yeah, it's calmed down. There's hardly anything on the news at times about that at times. It's not as front and center as it was. Now something else is taking front and center with this deal, this bomb, this guy they killed in Iraq, from Iran, that was going to wreak havoc on us and everything. That's front and center right now. And the impeachment in Virginia's number 2 right now, and Cascadia is way down the list so far until it acts up, until they want a distraction from that.
Well, yeah, and then meanwhile they're going to try to steal the guns. Because, Red, don't you feel that if one of the other two go off, let's say either, we're going to call it the heated, escalated event, or Cascadia, they're going to definitely try to steal the guns because no one's going to be focusing on that.
Right.
I mean, I just don't see how we get it any other way.
Yeah, I want to hear Red's opinion on this. Red, what do you think about all this going on?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm trying to ask Red. I tried to ask Red what she thinks about this. I don't know Red's personal thoughts. I know how Red feels about the Second Amendment. Go ahead, Red.
Virginia, first of all, it's the governor, right? It's the governor of Virginia.
Yeah, Northam. Northam's the one. And he was the blackface guy, G. This is blackface dude.
All things aside, the very first thing that I would like the governor to do, because apparently he never has, and since he's the governor, that's very shocking to me. And if he does or has, then he doesn't understand it. So somebody needs to explain it to him. Someone needs to explain the damn Virginia flag to this man.
Would you like to explain it to us, Red?
Okay. It literally is a man over another man with his foot on top of him. Talking about Semper Fi tyranny.
Right.
Okay? They don't do this. They've made it very clear that they are within their state constitutional rights as well as their federal rights, as well as their Second Amendment right now, because the right of the Second Amendment is, in fact, to protect us from a tyrannical government.
Truth.
Also, if you read the Constitution, they have a firearms provision in there to be like a Second Amendment in your state constitution also.
Yeah, and their own militia system. Yeah, even their own militia system, Bruce. Like, how can you know, he wants to come in and just because the state turned purple one time, wants to somehow change everything about it.
Now,
there's a process for that. It's called amending your constitution.
Virginia's made it very clear that they stand for their state constitution as well as their federal constitution as well as Second Amendment, and they've also made it very clear that they're the majority of the state.
Yeah. Which they are.
Now, my problem is your government, which we just did this on my show on Sunday night, Journey into Freedom. My problem is when you elect these officials, okay, they represent we the people, right? Right.
Word.
Now, that's their job. That's what they're there to do. So when they do something, it's supposed to be in the majority. Now, sometimes we're not all included in the majority. I can understand that. I can accept that I'm an adult.
Well, that's a part of democracy, right? That you're not always a part of the majority, right? That is a part of democracy, right?
I can accept it. So when they passed these red flag laws, I thought, okay, maybe I am the minority and I'm just feeling a little stupid. Now, in the case of Virginia, sanctuary states versus sanctuary counties versus non-sanctuary counties far outweigh the sanctuary counties, far outweigh the ones that didn't go with sanctuary, which is clearly the majority of we the people, which means when you pass that law, you went against we the people. When you pass that bill, you went against we the people. You are no longer representing we the people. You are now a tyrannical government.
He hasn't passed it yet.
Made that very clear.
He hasn't passed it yet, but that's why we're setting up. So basically, what our leader, Watchdog, has said, and we kind of did a mock trial for this on the Zello channel, was that we did. We are trying him for conspiracy to commit treason, okay? But once he passes this bill, then he has committed treason against we the people. But basically, it's at sedition either way, so hang him. That's where it's at.
But here's the thing. It will happen.
People need to.
And I'll explain why once I get my headphones plugged. Give me 1 second.
The people need to, though.
Now, what I said on my program that I also see a problem with is, see, back when we did the Second Amendment and we wrote our Constitution, we did everything, guess what? You know what the difference of the government then to the government now was? The government then feared we the people.
Right.
The problem now is our governments, whether they're state and or federal, no longer fear we the people, and the one damn thing that they still fear from we the people, which is our Second Amendment and right to bear arms, is now what they are trying to strip us of, because it's the one thing we have not let them take away. It's the one thing. We've slowly let them eat everything else away from us, and we blindly let it all go. And here we are now going, oh my God, wait, now they want to take our guns, and now it's fucking serious. It was serious a long time ago, but people were blind.
True. You're right, though, Red. You're right. That's the truth. Something need to be done a long time ago.
Red's right.
You know, what they want to do is to get our guns from us so the New World Order can come in without a fight and take us all over and be their
You damn right.
We're the stumbling block. We're the stumbling block for the New World Order with our Second Amendment.
Yep.
And it's not just the United States wanting to take it, it's the United Nations wanting to disarm us so they can get the say-so of the United States. And my understanding watching Dave Hodges with the blue helmets is if they feel Mr. Obama signed us up for this and we can't get out of it with the United Nations, if we have a big trouble here in the United States and the United Nations feel that they need to come in and restore order, we do not have a right to say no because our illustrious past president, sarcasm intended,
right,
signed us up for this through the United Nations, and it cannot be overturned even by President Trump.
Did you know?
Blue helmets want to come in, they can do anything they want to.
Hold on, Dwayne. Bruce, did you know that in the last week I have seen ads, and Red has too, Red can attest to this, we have seen ads for disarmament agents in New York for UN camps?
Yes,
I have, and they want them English-speaking people. Is what they're wanting. I've seen it, looked at it, and things like that. I get a lot of my stuff from Mr. Hodges and stuff. He is awesome and stuff. And of course, I look at other stuff too. But everything. But,
yeah, I didn't even actually hear that from Dave Hodges. Red and I just happen to have some really good sleuthy friends who post like the actual, ads for these things from the UN.
And like here's the thing, like that Red was saying.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
When our founding fathers, okay, let's go back to after the Revolutionary War, okay?
Right.
When we had another fucking country controlling us, our guns get taken away, it's gonna basically be the same damn freaking thing as Britain controlling us back before the Revolutionary War. When our founding fathers made the fucking Constitution, they made sure and made that Constitution to make us feel safe, to make us feel ensured that would never, ever happen again.
That's true.
And we are back at the brink, because if this happens, we are either going to be at a brink of a civil war, or we're going to be at the brink of another revolutionary war all over again. Because when that Constitution was made, every member signed that document. Every member signed it, and they signed the Declaration of Independence.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it now again. When your government wants to disarm you, it means your government's about to do something you would shoot them for.
True.
Exactly. See, and Red, that's where I was going. That's where I was going.
That's why they want us unarmed, because then we can't fight back. This is why they have tried to demasculinate the male population, remove them from feeling like they have value in our culture, so we don't have any warriors in our culture anymore in America. Good old patriots, good old boys are really hard to find. And that was done by design, so that we would be at a very weak point and stay.
They're all Denver Lions now.
Back in the day, I bet you every single truck at a high school that had a gun rack in it had a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And there weren't no school shootings.
No, there weren't school shootings. No.
And there weren't, every teenager.
There were 32 pickup trucks in the parking lot, all with gun racks, all with freaking shotguns or rifles, and there was not school shootings. Explain it.
Exactly. And then, because my father, when he was in school, mind you, my dad was born in 1969. My dad said when his best friend was in school, back in 1973, my dad's dad's best friend, when he was in school in 1973, because he was 18, 19, my dad's friend had a freaking hunting rifle loaded and cocked in the back of his truck, and he said there was 62 other trucks there that had 2 to 3 guns on that rack.
It was normal.
Now there's a point.
Wait, hold on. Red wants to make a point. Make a point, Red.
Just for clarification again, I do this often, but we're just going to double check, okay? So, hey, gun, shoot somebody.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Come on.
Do it. You can.
A gun can't pull its own fucking trigger.
Truth.
It's the human. It's the fucked up individual standing behind that firearm.
Right.
Standing
but
behind
my gun
that
right
AR-15.
here next to me on the couch that I just told to shoot somebody won't do it.
I'm a gun owner, right? Put it like this.
Clarify that.
Yeah, I think that was a good clarification, Red, because I think people need to remind themselves that just removing the guns alone doesn't solve the problem.
Put it like this. I went and spoke at my old local middle school and high school that I used to go to, right?
Okay.
Because I'm in public safety. I'm an emergency medical technician.
Right.
So my school is in Stark County. I go and I talk about school shootings. I talk about procedures. I talk about how to give basic, simple first aids. We were able to bring a practice gun that they would use at a sheriff's office. A dud. And it's completely blue. Scarlett, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
A training pistol.
Yeah.
It's a blue plastic training pistol. No ammunition, no firing pin, no nothing. It's just a dud.
Mm-hmm.
I looked and I did the same thing. Because someone asked me a question. Why do guns kill people? I did the same damn thing you did. Everybody in the school looked at me like I was a fucking idiot. I said, it's not the gun that kills somebody. I said, it's the psychotic, screwed up individual that decides to walk in your school. And sorry, I might get a little bit emotional. That will walk in your school or your home and point blank pull the trigger because they don't give two fucks about your life. And Scarlett, I'm sorry about my language on this one because this topic hits home.
I get it.
As a gun owner, guns will never. A gun sitting in my safe. I can yell at it all day long. Sorry, I'm thinking I spit my dip.
That's true, though.
The next point that I would like to bring...
Hold on. Red's going to make a point. Go ahead, Red.
The next point I need to bring to everyone's attention, because I'm that weird fact person that has, a lot of useless facts that roll around in my head.
But they're good facts.
And anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, because I do realize that facts change over time, and I could be incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about our previous conversation about the decay theory with facts, Bruce, but that was really interesting, that every 50 years facts replace themselves.
Yeah, I just come in on this one here.
Oh, you came just on this one here. So, yeah, that'll be something you'll have to listen to, because Red and I have talked about that in previous shows and in the past, but basically the idea is that, every 50 years, the ideas in science or theories are replaced by new theories in science that are forgotten. So, continue, Red.
Yeah.
Now, last I knew, Chicago is completely disarmed. They're a completely 100% gun-free zone.
Correct.
Okay. Can someone explain to me why would they still have the highest murder rate by shooting daily?
Come on now, Red. Come on.
Daily. I'm not even talking weekly. I'm not even... damn hourly. Hourly. Why is this? If they are completely disarmed and they are completely a gun-free zone, there should be no shootings in Chicago, according to what everybody wants us to believe. Now, they have the highest goddamn rate of death by shooting.
Truth.
People, open your eyes. Open your eyeballs.
Well, it's true, because good people know how to control their guns and have...
by the law.
Right, because good people have trigger discipline. Good people know what to do with their firearms, and bad people, no matter how many laws or legislations you try to put through, will still obtain the firearm that could kill you or your family.
Criminals do not fear the law. They do not fear your red flag law. They do not fear your disarmament. They do not fear your authority.
Your authority. You're ridiculous, right?
Okay?
I'll make a good point of how a weapon saved my family. Scarlett, I called you the night that it happened.
Correct.
I had a man. It was just me and my son here. A man walked straight through my door. Sitting there holding a 44-year-old at gunpoint with my 9-month-old child in my arms. Ready to take another life. Because let me me tell you this. Fuck the castle law. Fuck the stand your ground law. You bring a loaded gun in my home and my 9-month-old is in my house. Let me tell you something. I will go to prison for a murder charge. You're not going to kill my kid. Guns can't protect people. One of our EMS personnel, our fire chief, carries a gun, and we were shot at a couple months ago. You want to know? Scarlett, take a guess. You want to know who's the one that defended us when cops got there?
Who?
Our fucking fire chief.
Yep.
Stood up. No vest, no nothing. Return fire. Did you know that in the city I live in Ohio, we are one of the worst fucking cities for violent crimes and property crimes. Out of one county, out of many different counties, however many there are in Ohio, Stark County, Canton, Ohio, is fucking labeled Little Detroit.
Wow.
And now you can see why everybody across the fucking nation is armed. Because some dumbass is going to walk in your fucking house one night, kill you, your wife, your kid, your teenager, and possibly your newborn child. Fuck the disarmament. Fuck your tyranny. I will go down riddled in bullets before you even try to disarm my family.
Right. That's a good point, though, and I think a lot of us feel the same way. I know Red feels the same way. I know that we feel that this is not acceptable, right, Red?
Well, I've said it again, I'll say it before. They don't fear the police. They don't fear law. They don't fear bills. They don't fear...
Hello.
Hello. We lost Red. Hold on, we gotta get Red.
Yeah, you lost me, Scarlett.
Yep, sorry about that. We lost Red. Hold on, we're gonna get her back.
Okay. I'm gonna let you go anyway. I'm getting tired here in Kansas.
Alright.
So,
yep, I'm
just
not
gonna
too
let
far
you go,
away.
And we'll try it again some other time.
Sounds good. We're here every Friday night, same time.
Okay, what time do you start, Scarlett?
11 p.m. Central Standard.
11 Central, okay. Okay, I'll try to remember that then, so... But anyway, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents worth in about that reciprocity on our concealed carry stuff, and I wasn't surprised because they're going to make the place outside the courthouse to a certain point gun-free outside the courthouse, and I wouldn't surprise me if they throw this in on it too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the reciprocity part of it.
Yep. Yeah, so we got to keep watching it, and I'll keep reporting on it, as much as we can. And I'll let you know I'll post the Zello channel in the chat, in Ron's chat, so you can join their Virginia Sanctuary County's channel and get some more intel.
Okay, and you also, when you're going, if you're driving, and they pass some of this stuff, watch out for state line roadblocks.
Yep.
So, just FYI, you might try to get that out to your people somehow, too.
Oh, yeah, a lot of times we can get around them. So, I work as a director of intelligence, and so during, like, Imelda and storms, we get our boys around the roadblocks. So, don't worry about that, Bruce. We'll make it through.
Okay, but I'm just thinking out of the box again like I do sometimes, and really put some smart aleck stuff on Ron's channel.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming over to Clarity After Dark. I appreciate you.
Okay, we'll talk to you later, honey. You take care up there.
I will, as always. You have a good night.
Okay, and be safe when you go to Virginia.
Scarlett, you calling right back?
Yep. Bye-bye, Bruce.
Bye-bye.
That was a good call. I didn't know you could have more than one person. This is the first time that I've got to use the multi-call.
You called me on there.
Yeah, I did, but now I know I didn't know that I could basically add you to the call on there too.
See, and Scarlett, while we're trying to get Red back, can I speak with mine for a minute?
Yeah, we got Red back. Hey, Red.
Hey, Red. So,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Red, because I'm trying to calm down for a minute.
Yeah, calm down. And then, yeah. So you were talking about Red. Right before we lost Bruce. Bruce was had said goodnight to us for a while, so he's gonna tune in. That's his first time. He's heard about me on Ron's channel and decided to come tune in.
Cool.
So that was awesome. Yeah, but back to Virginia.
I said they're doing so many things right now, and they're crossing so many lines that it's extremely frightening. Like, they are about to go into Amish
territory and bulldoze houses
and force vaccinate Amish children.
And bulldoze houses.
To put Amish men and women in jail. They're threatening to take Amish children and put them in CPS custody in non-Amish homes. Like, what is happening right now? The Amish have had their religious beliefs stripped from them by a state government authority, and they're like, oh, we're just going to go do this because the Amish are a peaceful people. Listen, you've never put them in a corner like this.
Right.
Well, what happened to the First Amendment, freedom of speech and religion?
Boy.
They still have freedom of religion. What they don't have the freedom of is saying that vaccines go against their religion, because no religion, according to the state of New York and New Jersey now, and possibly Pennsylvania soon, no religion actually has any grounds for non-vaccination. That is all something that has been made up in our heads.
Yep.
You know what? And here's the thing. I was just in the hospital. You see, Red, because here's where I have a problem with vaccinations, too.
Me and Red have a whole bunch of problems with vaccinations, but...
Oh, Scarlett, I think I'm at the same level as you guys, because after what you told me, everything that's in them.
Yes. We had a conversation about vaccine ingredients, Red.
Because 2 weeks ago, Red, I had to take my son to the ER. My son got the hepatitis B vaccine.
Oh, Lord.
Word? That's what I said, G.
Well, hold on. 4 days
I'm
later,
sorry. I'm not judging you.
No, but that's how I felt. As a friend, I was like, no!
No, I'm going to tell you what happened.
Okay, I'm
4
sorry.
days later, he fall and bust his face, which he's done a lot. Never once bled. Started bleeding. Took my son back to the doctors. They went like, we're going to give him a shot to help him clot. I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. We're staying away from my son. They went like, you realize you can go to jail? I said, go ahead. I refuse to let it be stuck with anything else. If your vaccines that you're sticking in my child have aborted fetus cells or tissue in a vaccine, or what else do you say, Scarlett? Cow heart?
Bovine fetal cells are in them as well. So any vegetarians out there, should be very against vaccination because there's a lot of animal substance in those vaccines that you would be just mortified.
See, and when Scarlett read these off to me, ask Scarlett how quiet I was on the way to the hospital. And I'm a talkative person, am I not, Scarlett? Scarlett.
She's probably stepped away because you were on a roll. But what I'll say is this. I just recently went, and I'm not trying to gross you out. I'm just trying to enforce behind you how far this vaccination thing really goes, right?
He's an EMT, Red, so I don't think it goes too far.
So I just went with a female friend of mine to her yearly gynecological appointment.
Oh, girl, you're good. I go to Julie's all the time.
Now,
you're good.
We go.
You gotta go stay home.
We go, and she asked me to please come with her into the room because she's afraid to be alone with a doctor in the room now, especially when they're messing with her hoo-ha.
Right. I can't blame her. Julie's the same way.
Okay, which in this day and age, I don't blame her. So, yes, girl, I'm there for you. Hoo-ha visit and all. Let's go. We roll in there, and the doctor comes in, and, he asks pretty normal questions to start off with. And, so you had a baby. Yes, I did. And then he immediately goes, now, wait. There's no hospital record of your delivery. She says, no, I delivered it at home. Oh, my gosh. The whole thing changed. Immediate.
Oh, no.
Okay, immediate. His attitude changed. His posture changed. His voice tone changed. Everything changed. And he says, has the child ever had a well visit? Now, please keep in mind, the child's not present there. The child is not a patient of the doctor. The doctor has never seen the child. Okay?
Right.
Third time only that this doctor has seen the mother. He did see her while she was pregnant because he was supposed to be the backup in case she had a hard pregnancy and actually did have to go to the hospital to deliver. This was supposed to be the man that delivered. She saw him once. Everything was going good. She had a doula and never had to go back to him. Okay?
Right.
So, she's still pretty a new patient. And he's like, has the child ever been in for a well visit since birth? She's like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, I show no records of it. And she's like, well, I don't care what you show a record of. I mean, he literally was just with his dad and cracked his skull open and was just at the Colorado Children's Hospital for 2 days.
Yeah, there'd be some record.
Okay.
There'd be some record that kid's in the hospital.
Right.
What?
There'd be some records that, little one was in the hospital.
Right.
Unless the doctor's a dumbass.
Right. He's like, well, I'm not showing records. Well, you probably won't because he's not a patient of yours.
Right. Do you even have access to see that without a thing?
See, let me speak on that for like 20 seconds. A gynecologist cannot actually, even though they assist in the delivery of the child,
right,
the only wellness of the child that they ever tend for is when that baby slips out your vagina. That is it.
Right.
Right.
That is it. To make sure that his weight's okay, that his body temperature gets risen, that his blood cell count's okay, and that's it. And he eats for the first time. That's it. So technically, by law, a gynecologist cannot get a hold of that kid's records. Go ahead, but sorry.
So then he says, so you're up to, so he looks at her, and he says, so you're all up to date with your vaccines, right? And she says, no, those aren't for me. And he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Not for you or not for your child? And she's like, either of us. And he goes, so your child's not vaccinated either. And she's like, no. And he's like, you've got to get him in. He's got to get vaccinated. You need your flu shot immediately. Let me get this drawn up for you. And I was like, excuse me. First of all, the child isn't here. Can we focus on the patient? And she's here for a flu visit, which has nothing to do with the flu.
You ain't never lied. I've never heard of hoo-ha flu, so just saying.
I've never heard of it either, and I'm in the medical field.
Saying.
Okay. So then he's like, well, I don't understand why you wouldn't get the flu shot. And I was like, first of all, it's only 6% effective this year.
Right.
Exactly.
He said, well, I haven't heard that. And I said, well, I could pull it up for you on the CDC site because that's what they released.
Right.
And he looked at me. And he's like, so I guess you'll just, take some herbs and burn some sage?
Wow. That still chaps my ass. That still chaps my ass. I swear it does, even hearing it the second time. I'm not even gonna lie.
And I was like, actually, I didn't... And what I said to him was, I said, actually, I didn't insult you as an allopathic doctor, so please don't insult me as a holistic practitioner. I am registered lifetime holistic practitioner. I'm also a neurologist. So actually, I put my money on elderberry that's proved to be 98.5% effective against every flu strain, including H1N1 that it's put up against. But I don't see any pharmacies willing to give you that. But they'll give you the flu shot that's only 6% effective at even preventing the flu for free.
Free. Oh, and a $5 gift card. Or 20 cents off gas.
See, because that's the funny thing, because I was in the hospital the other night, right?
Yep.
As none of you know, before I learned about this one vaccine that I got, the human papillomavirus, has somehow kicked my ass. My organs have shut down. I got an ellipsis, whatever the hell it's called. It's a temporary bowel blockage.
Intussusception.
Thank you.
Yes.
But there's a shorter word for it. I just don't remember the name for it. It's like really short. It's like 6 letters.
Impaction?
You know, it's like an accessibly or something like that. But anyways.
Piping.
So, my doctor asked me if I've been vaccinated lately. And I love this doctor. I swear to God. He's going like, what vaccine did you get? I'm going like, the human papillomavirus. He's going like, we're keeping you for 4 days. I went like, why? He's like, I had someone in here 2 weeks ago that had it the same day and they died 2 days later.
Yep.
You want to know what hell I went through for 4 days?
Yep.
Nothing in my mouth. Saline out the ass. I tell you what, and I shit you not, within an 8-hour period, I went through 14 bags of saline.
Mm-hmm.
Antibiotics out the ass to get my body to clear up and get rid of the infection that I had. Different specialists coming in to look at me, to feel my stomach, running different tests. It's a PET scan, a CAT scan, an MRI on my stomach, everything. And if it wasn't for the act that was put in place against flu manufacturers, you would be a billionaire right now. And I'm like, trust me, I know. I was on the brink of death. I didn't even know it. You want to know how many times I've been in the hospital this month because of the damn vaccine? 23 different times.
I also, during this visit, he tried to push this flu vaccine so hard Then he tried to push her again into bringing her child to the doctor for vaccination, and again tried to say how all vaccines were safe and effective. And then when she was like, okay, we're over this, can I just get a prescription now for birth control? And he's like, okay, well, let's talk about the birth control. And she says, well, I want NuvaRing because I can't trust myself to take a pill every day. And he says, well, then you need the IUD. And I'm like, now, isn't the IUD permanent? Like, and he's like, well, it's 5 to 7 years now. And I'm like, well, she didn't ask for anything like that. She just wanted something temporary. Why would you offer immediately to put something in her for 5 to 7 years?
And see, here's the thing that people don't know about the IUD. And sorry, Red, I'm just kind of throwing my medical expertise in when I hear certain things that causes alarm to me. There's been cases where people have had the IUD, which goes in your arm.
No, this one we wanted to give her specifically Mirena, which is in the uterus.
Exactly, and see, and I had a feeling you were going to say that. With the one that goes in the uterus, that bitch moves.
Yes.
You think that's still in your uterus?
Now, you just said that you know medically it moves.
Medically, it does move. Yes, the Mirena moves, and the metal rod they put in your arm sure as hell moves.
Now, I just want to state this. You are an EMT. When she herself, as the patient, mentioned this to the doctor, do you know what he said to her?
What?
I've never heard of that.
See? Because that's the thing. I know where both goes. The implant goes up in the top forearm, probably about 7 to 8 inches away from your armpit, on the bottom part of your arm. Anywhere between the middle and the bottom part of your arm. You want to know where I felt that at in people? In their freaking forearm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have also had patients, I can't give names, but I can talk about it, where I've had the Mirena come out back through your vagina. And now these people can't have kids.
And she asked him that question specifically as well. I've also heard that Mirena can cause infertility. Again, his answer was, I've never heard of that.
Any IUD that is given, anything that is an implant, okay, can cause infertility. Now, Julie, on her instance, they tried to offer Mirena. I said no. They tried to offer the IUD. They said no. Julie can't take pills. So our last option for birth control was the Depo shot. And now here's the reason I agreed to the Depo shot. Julie has what they call polycystic ovarian syndrome. Both of you are women, so both of you, hopefully, you should know what that is.
Right.
Anybody don't know? Scarlett? No. So, with that, it stopped her periods. She has irregulars. They can last for months.
Right.
Now, any IUD that is planned is 5 to 7 years. They will not take that out if you want to have a baby. Julie wants to decide to have a kid. The only thing she has to do is get one shot of a Depo shot, and she is fertile as hell.
Now, I do not want to disagree. However, speaking from my own personal knowledge being information gained through experience. Okay?
No, you're fine. I you don't gotta explain that.
The Depo shot personally. The Depo shot took away my periods. I didn't have periods. I thought that was great. And then it made me infertile for almost 4 years. after I stopped taking it. My periods were completely erratic. I had to go in constantly to get tested for cancer, and it caused a slew of other problems.
See, with the Depo shot, because I've done studies on it, a lot of women's bodies, it will help with the menstrual issue, if you know what I mean when I say that.
Right.
Hopefully you know what I mean when I'm saying the menstrual issue, the lady issue.
Right. Right.
But with some, and not all people, I think it was like a 4 or 5% of people, from when I did my study on it, that it does cause that. The Depo shot has actually been rated one of the most acting controlled birth control that doesn't cause severe harm.
Right.
To the body. Now, like I said, there's been that 4 or 5% of people.
Yeah, and I recognize the fact that I'm always the medical weirdo. I get it. But I'm just saying from my own personal experience, the Depo was no good. So,
I'm sharing medical knowledge with you since you're also a licensed practitioner.
Right.
Just a friendly medical conversation. I'm not putting you down or anything. I don't think I'm doing that.
No, I don't. I don't at all. And I'm not telling anybody out there not to get the Depo. I just like to give, all sides of how shit goes down, because the NuvaRing, which is what she asked for, goes up, and it's a ring that actually sits on the cervix, and it's the same medication, exactly the same hormones and the same prescription as the pill. It just now time releases to the uterus itself.
Right, and the good thing about the NuvaRing is, what I didn't know about the NuvaRing, it actually eliminates sperm count.
Yes.
So, say, if your other partner isn't using birth control.
Right.
And he slips up.
Right.
I'm not trying, he slips up. It kills the sperm count. That's what I like about the NuvaRing. Julian, on the other hand, just doesn't feel comfortable with someone reaching their hand up there.
Right. Well, you do it yourself.
And she's not even comfortable with me. I even offer that. She just doesn't want nothing that's birth control going up there. Because she's heard a lot of bad stories about stuff that's lit up there.
Right.
For birth control, and it's got her terrified.
Sure. Now, for my girl, my delinquent, she wanted a NuvaRing. He's like, no, let's do this IUD instead. And I'm like, no. And then, he hasn't heard about it moving. He hasn't heard about it busting through the uterus. He hasn't heard about the severe infection that it can cause within 2 days that will also cause death. And that happens within 2 to 4 days of implantation. And he hadn't heard about the infertility of it. So I literally type in Milena side effects, and right from the Milena safety site go, so you are prescribing this, and the reason that you don't want to give her the NuvaRing is because you don't really prescribe it, and you've never prescribed it here in your office, even though you offer it. But this is your number one prescription, you just said. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so you prescribe it all the time? He's like, at least 4 or 5 times a day. And I was like, and you don't know of any of these side effects that we just mentioned. And he's like, no. I'm like, how the fuck do you have your degree? Because right here on the Milena safety site are the exact fucking things that we just discussed. How did you just give this woman any type of informed consent?
Exactly, and that's the thing about doctors. With doctors, see, Red, this is why I love you, because I've talked to you before. With the meme, the birth control, the doctors are trying, it's big pharma. at the end of behind any birth control, any medication is Big Pharma. Now, the thing, a lot of doctors do not know about Mirena is that inside the implant is the medication.
Right.
There is a liquid inside implants. That gets into your organs. It causes a mass infection.
Yep.
Now, to deal with that mass infection, antibiotics, they're not going to work.
Nope.
Because they're not in your organs. It's in your body. It's on the outside of your organs.
It's directly in your bloodstream.
You're going to have to go through a blood transfusion. You're going to have to go through antibiotics. You're going to have to go through constant surgeries just to clean you up on the inside.
Right.
And I'm hoping Scarlett would somehow step back in, because I want to hear her opinion on this, but she's just somewhere disappeared.
No. Lies.
Oh.
Okay.
Hi, Scarlett.
Y'all were jabbering for a minute, so I just let you guys go with your on a roll.
But the Mirena carries that on the inside, right? Because now that's in your body.
Well, the plastic itself has the levonorgestrel in it. And then that releases slowly over time. Much like it's an implanted NuvaRing. Because NuvaRing is also levonorgestrel, and I believe it's around the same amount as 0.003%. And so it's pretty much the same thing. Like just like Red said, one goes in the uterus, one goes on the outside of the cervix.
Now, Scarlett, are you by your laptop by any chance?
Of course I am. That's how we're broadcasting the show.
Are you able to pull anything up on your laptop while you're broadcasting?
Yeah, I can pull something up.
Pull up the IUD that goes in your arm.
That is called Nexplanon.
Can you pull that up for me?
Yep.
And
a couple of things out.
then he went back again during this, after I just pointed out to him that, all of this is listed right on the Mirena site. He was like, so do you want me to get that flu shot drawn up for you? And I was like, no. And then he goes, well, we also need to talk about the HPV vaccine. And I was like, you know what? No. No, we're not going to talk about a cancer vaccine because you don't even know what causes cancer. You can't definitively tell me. You don't have a cure for it. So I'll be damned if you're going to inject something into my delinquent that prevents it.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the doctor. I'm sorry. As an emergency medical technician, I laugh at the stupidest things the doctors say. I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up for a minute.
And then I looked at him and I said, and quite frankly, I'm getting very tired of this medical battery.
Word, which we went over the definition of medical battery on Sunday on Journey into Freedom. Check it out on freedomrevolutionnetwork.com.
And he looked at me and I was like, and I'm sure you know what that terminology is. Because I wanted to say medical rape, but you wouldn't understand that one.
Word.
Oh, that's a burn to any doctor right there, man. I've had that. Dude, medical battery and medical rape is just thrown at so many doctors. Now, Red, on your term, it was a hammer on top of the nail, on top of the head of the nail. God.
So we left our doctor's office completely unvaccinated and with a NuvaRing prescription.
Yeah, this one says that implants have been found in the pulmonary artery, a blood vessel in the lung. If the implant cannot be found in the arm, they can use x-rays or other imaging methods on the chest.
Okay, what does it say for the safety warnings?
Well, this is the safety warning. It can get in your chest, it can come back out itself, ectopic pregnancy, ovarian cyst, breast cancer, serious blood clots in legs, lung, brain, heart, or eyes, other risks including high blood pressure, gallbladders, rare cancers or non-cancerous liver tumors, broke or bent implants, pain in your lower legs, severe chest pain, severe shortness of breath, allergic reaction, sudden severe headache, weakness or numbness in your arm, leg, or trouble speaking, sudden or partial or complete blindness, yellowing of the skin or whites of your eyes, appetite, dark-colored urine, severe pain, tenderness in the lower stomach, lumps in your breast, problems sleeping, or you feel sad, heavy menstrual bleeding. What else you want?
Wait, did you just say it can cause jaundice?
Pretty much, yeah. Yellowing of the skin or whites of your eyes, yeah. Especially with fever, tiredness, loss of appetite, dark-colored urine, or light-colored bowel movements, which is fucking jaundice. You're absolutely right.
So look at it this way. I'm going to give you a medical scenario, right?
Right.
My first year on the job, I'm a basic. I'm not a paramedic yet. I'm considered basic entry level.
Right.
There's not much I can do. I dealt with an IUD in the arm. Now, I'm a volunteer at the time. I stayed at the hospital with her. You want to know where it was found? In the woman's stomach. It shifted up her arm, down through her chest, and then to the outer part of her stomach. Because this IUD that is implanted in your arm is in your muscle.
Wow.
It's in your muscle. Now, mind you, you have muscles in your stomach.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think guys have fucking six-packs?
Women have six-packs too, bro.
Or women. I was getting there.
No, you
But
weren't.
you don't see a lot of women that have six-packs.
No, you weren't, Dwayne. Don't play games.
I'm not playing games. I'm on mine. I'm on.
Oh, so you're not on bullshit right now?
I'm not on bullshit. I put it on my son. I'm not on bullshit.
Dwayne's known for bullshit, y'all.
I'm known for being on some bullshit.
It's true.
But I'm not on bullshit. I have been on bullshit all night.
Good for you.
Only reason I had to say women, Scarlett, is because you don't see a lot of women that have six-packs.
That's true.
So I wasn't on some bullshit. But anyways. But now, with the whole birth control issue, did you know they're trying to make a birth control for men?
Yes! And people's testicles have exploded in India. Yes.
They're trying to make a shot for men that goes in your balls.
Yeah, testicles have exploded in India. From that.
That goes in your balls.
Exploded.
That goes in your balls. They inject you in your sack.
Yeah.
And they go to the explode. And then they explode.
Yes. Exploding.
Here's my thing. And this is why I love Scarlett, because she is our head leader on our medical freedom page.
Correct.
On Zello.com/medical freedom. I'm going to throw that link out there for people that want to join. There that is, if you want to hear some interesting stuff that me and Scarlett talk about.
Correct.
Because we can go all day with this. And sometimes we have a 2.5, 3 hour phone conversation on medical bullcrap because we were on some bullshit.
Right? Ooh. We're gonna do the...
But anyway...
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. Just wait. Yes, because I just played the thunder because exploded. I just need that people to think about that. Exploded.
Oh my God.
Can you hear the thunder in the background?
Thunder. People will. The listeners will. And that's what matters.
If you are a male out there listening to our broadcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry what I just put your,
I hope your balls are not in any pain whatsoever.
Yeah, I sure
hope. That was not our intentions.
No, not at all.
I am thinking about
we're trying to help you keep your balls from exploding.
Exploded. But Scarlett, I am thinking about starting my own radio talk show.
Oh, that's exciting, Dwayne.
And I kind of got it from your Zello page. So look me later.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
But like I was saying,
we might be going after Dwayne for copyright infringement. That might be a thing.
Oh, wait a minute.
How you gonna steal my idea? How you gonna openly... Red, did you not just hear him admit he stole my idea?
G.
G.
I got an idea from it. I said I got an idea from your Zello page.
G.
An idea.
G. What did that sound like to you?
Scarlett, you're on some bullshit.
That sounded like, hey buddy, can I copy your homework?
Yes, it did. Yeah, but you gotta change around a few words first.
Sure,
No, I'm not, Scarlett. I'm not stealing it. I'm not stealing it.
Yeah, you just gotta change around a few words first before you can copy it.
I am gonna change around a lot of words.
Me and Red are doing a running joke from a comedian named, I believe his name is Jamie Behrens. I think that's what his name is. Hold on, let's see. That's what I think his name is. Charlie Behrens is what his name is. And he did a great skit about Farm and Fleet and Fleet Farm. And Red saw this. Oh, do you guys have Fleet Farm out there?
Fucking Fleet Farm.
Dude, do you have Fleet Farm out there?
No, I don't think we do.
Okay, so anyway, so they did this skit, and so basically, like Red said, it just sounded like you wanted to copy my homework, and then Charlie Behrens goes, well, you can copy, but you gotta change around a few words first.
Well, I like to see if we have them in Ohio.
Yeah, you should. I don't know if they do. They might. It's hard to know. But the point being, for tonight, is that, we've got to protect our rights, and they're getting to the point where they're finding many different ways to get over on us as people. And they're trying to have big events all at once that affect us. And I think that if we don't keep ourselves aware of what can happen, we're going to watch some of our rights kind of hit before us.
And we are. And it's sad. Our gun rights, our medical rights, they're trying to push on us that all of us need to be vaccinated. Talk about putting a microchip up under our hands.
Yep.
Make us vaccinate our kids before they can go to school.
Yep. Or vaccine police, or AB 99, where you can be detained if you're not vaccinated and then forcibly vaccinated by court order.
Wasn't there someone, you said that was detained here in the States for either taking or selling vitamin A so they would not be vaccinated?
That was in Samoa with the ongoing Samoan measles crisis. Of which we ain't heard a lick of word about Samoa lately, Red.
I haven't I've been following that, and I haven't heard.
Ain't that a good point, right? Like, we ain't heard none about Samoa. What's going on over there?
Nope, not since they said everybody had to vaccinate. We haven't heard.
No, we ain't heard nothing about nothing over there. We haven't heard if it's still going on.
I did hear, like, sometime last week that they arrested 2 doctors.
Right.
That were not enforcing vaccines.
5 days ago they lifted the state of emergency over the measles epidemic. 5 days ago.
Oh, gee. You think, considering I actually did that math all up, and the ratio of the people, okay, of their population,
right,
and the actual outbreak itself was only 1.5% of the entire population.
Yeah, and then they said now that they've hit herd immunity to 95%, so now it's okay. It killed.
Which, by the way, I would like to add, 1.5% of their population is what was affected with this measles. That was so important to say that every single person must be vaccinated and do what they just did over there. But yet, when you say to a doctor, for instance, Molina on their site right here says that it can cause infertility in, 1.3% of women, that's insignificant.
You want to know how they used to do a chickenpox back in the days? Before this chickenpox vaccine came out?
Chickenpox parties. We're older than you, Dwayne.
Dude, chickenpox parties.
Word, like, we're older than you, Dwayne. Like, of course, we're younger.
I'm saying it for the people that could have been listening. I know you two are older than me.
I'm just saying, like,
baby on the air.
Yes, you're a child. Yes,
but
yes.
guys, for the people that are listening, can start with some bullshit.
Okay.
Vaccines used to be a choice.
Yeah.
My great grandpa said when he had the chickenpox, him and his 6 brothers got it. They were in a room with each other for a week.
Yeah. And I guess Samoa was the first country, because they're just a little bit east of the international date line. And so they were the ones that actually hit the first country to be in the new decade. But isn't that funny that 5 days ago they lifted that state of emergency? And we haven't heard a word about it since.
Right, you want to know what the other funny fact is since you talked about the new decade? The whole 2020 thing.
Yeah.
How is it that after New Year's, we find ourselves in a heated Middle Eastern crisis?
Because they always have to get us in the craziest times. They got to use big ways, of distracting us. So that way, we don't focus on what's actually going on.
And I'm probably going to get yelled at by either Red or Scarlet here for a minute. But when I label Iran as this snow military term, this is just far. I think I lost Scarlet.
Would you like to define that term?
Sure. Fucked up beyond all recognition. The last time we were even in Iran or Iraq, Iraq, same thing. It's in 2030.
That's true. So we got to,
2003 to 2011.
Well, that's true.
9 years later, we're back in the same spot. Again.
We are. They're worried about cyber attacks. They're worried about, they're trying to get us running scared. We're not going to get running scared. We're going to be prepared. We're going to stand up for our rights no matter what that's going to be. We've gone on a little extra late tonight, so with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for being here with us on Clarity After Dark, Dwayne. We appreciate you. And you being here with us.
I'm normally on here every time with you guys. It's always a pleasure getting to talk to you and getting to talk to lovely Red because we have medical conversations like this.
Yeah, it's a good thing. So, with that being said, Dwayne, I will bid you good night.
Good night, Dwayne.
Red, I hope you take care, and I'll probably message you sometime this week and continue our conversation.
Okay.
But to that, I am going to hang up. I love you guys. You guys have a good night.
Love you, Dwayne. Good night.
Much love.
And that's Dwayne, everybody. With that being said, Red, it makes you feel like we need to hold dear some of our rights. And we need to make time for our families and for a little bit more. So with that being said, Red, do you have any last words?
Dare to be different, dare to be you, dare to learn to love yourself unconditionally.
And from the land of 10,000 lakes and from the highest desert valley in the great American Southwest, good night, universe. Make sure you tune in to all of our great shows here on Freedom Revolution Network. We are here Monday through Friday, and we have a few shows coming on the weekend, so stay tuned for that as well. Feel free, if you like what we do around here, to donate to all of our shows. And with that being said, I bid you farewell.